Oh, yeah, been there, done that.
I had like this, like, when I told them, teacher, I really.
Got the sun right by it. Could be more direct. Like, literally, like, it's a little crack.
Right, right. But it's like human behavior, we're just kind of sitting in, yeah, it's sort of like, yeah. A little more than that. And some plan, but yeah. Like, it's sure. More than us, yeah. You might have to come in and sing, guys.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking, okay, sorry, you all, you're getting started. Right. Okay, I'm calling this meeting to order. We're coming. Oh, thank you. Calling this meeting back into order from closed session. Roll call. Trustee Jacobson.
Present.
Trustee Chavez.
Here.
Trustee Griffin is absent. Trustee Andrade Zuniga.
Presente.
Presente. Y Trustee Land, I am here. So tonight we have our Spanish interpreter, Enrique Montalvo. For those who would like to attend the meeting virtually in Spanish, that option is available. Enrique, would you please communicate that for us this evening?
Buenas tardes, tenemos a nuestro intérprete de español para la reunión de esta noche. Para aquellos de ustedes que quieran asistir a la reunión en español, esta opción está disponible. Gracias.
Gracias también. If you wish to view the closed captions of this meeting, please view the meeting on the San Mateo Union High School District Board meeting YouTube channel. The link to the YouTube channel can be found on our website. You may view the captions in English as well as stream them, live stream our meeting tonight, and you may view the captions in a variety of other languages if you choose to watch after this meeting has ended. Viewers may request additional accommodations by calling 650-558-2201. For our deaf and hard of hearing community, we have a team from Hannah Interpreting Services. They will be interpreting our meeting this evening. We would like everyone to speak at a clear and reasonable pace for our interpreters. Thank you. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Shall we all stand?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Reports of actions taken in closed session. In closed session, the board, upon motion of Trustee Andrade Zuniga and seconded by Trustee Jacobson, moved to approve the special education settlement with a vote of 3-0, with 2 being absent. Staff has requested that item S.7 be pulled and brought back on May 18th. Public comments. If you are joining us in person and wish to make a comment about an agenda item or during public comments section at the beginning of the agenda, please fill out a request to address the board form that looks like this and submit it to the secretary. This form should be given to the secretary before the agenda item begins. If you are joining us virtually, use the raised hand feature on Zoom to be recognized. When invited to do so by the board president for each item on which you wish to comment, you will be admitted to speak as a panelist during your public comment period. The board president will call on you. Thank you. The board president will call on you. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board president may increase or decrease the time allotted for public comment depending upon the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. So at this time, I'm going to do public comment. I'm not sure if these are agendized items. No, so these are not agendized items, so we'll do them at this time because they're not part of the agenda. So I'm going to start with Rima Asia. I hope I didn't get that wrong. I appreciate that. Please feel free.
Can I move this over?
Yeah, anyway, yeah, we try to have it so that we can hear it because it needs to be recorded and we have a virtual audience as well.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
All right. So, dear members of the school board, my name is Rima Asia, and I am a proud Muslim Palestinian American member of this community, serving as an English teacher at Burlingame High School. As someone who works in this district and frequently collects street data, which is information learned from the voices and experiences of our students, it saddens me that many BIPOC students have expressed to me how they feel unseen, unsupported, and underrepresented in our communities. With that sense of alienation, they have informed me that they are quite literally afraid to share their thoughts and experiences when they are among their peers, even though they are encouraged to do so by their families and their teachers. Unfortunately, I also have these same fears and trepidations, even as I stand before you today. And this is in light of the Ethnic Studies program and the targeted attacks on one of your employees. Designed by our incredible teachers across the district with the support of Dr. Samia Shaman, the Ethnic Studies class tries to recognize and celebrate the ethnic and cultural experiences of all our students. It's an important step in the right direction as they help empower our students to speak their truths and practice empathy when learning about the experiences of others. By doing so, teachers hope to create a brave and inclusive environment that encourages personal growth and fosters mutual respect among all members of the community. The questioning of the ethnic studies curriculum, however, reveals that there are people who believe that some identities are allowed to be learned and discussed in classrooms, while others are not. Since it is our district's mission to promote anti-racist curriculum and anti-racist classrooms, it is incumbent on us to support our students, our teachers, and our staff as we try to reach our district's goals. That being said, the personal and malicious attacks on Dr. Samia Shaman are extremely detrimental to the progress we hope to achieve across this district. She has dedicated years to supporting all students without exception, and it is our duty to protect her as she faces unfounded and deeply false accusations. Please know that your students and staff and this community is aware of what is happening on the district level, and how we choose to respond to these attempts at silencing BIPOC voices will define us. We must model for our community what it means to truly be brave and create a space that is inclusive of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have two more comments. The first is Angela Zink. Angela.
All right. Good evening. May I begin?
Of course.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President Land, members of the board, Superintendent Booker, and district staff. Tonight, I want to talk about the importance of providing resources to our students. Education is a fundamental right for every individual, and it is our duty to ensure that all of our students have access to the resources they need. As a society, we cannot afford to overlook the importance of investing in our students' education. I'm concerned about the cuts to both Peninsula High School and the therapeutic elective class at Mills High School. Moreover, providing resources to our students is not just about ensuring academic success and balancing budgets. It's about making sure our students are in a safe and empowering place. I work alongside the activities director at Mills High School, and many students in our tech program are also in our leadership program. Losing them is a significant loss to our community as their voices are deeply needed. We cannot ignore the fact that many students in our community did not have access to the resources they needed to find success, and it does not make sense to remove those resources that are currently supporting them. In conclusion, providing resources to our students is a moral imperative. Our students at Peninsula deserve to be supported by the teachers they've grown to rely on, and our students in tech deserve to continue at the school they have found safety and success in. Our district's mission says that every student is to be treated with dignity and respect, and that each student receives equal treatment and an equal chance at receiving an excellent education for an opportunity to live in a bright future. It just doesn't feel like we are living up to our mission with these cuts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Alexandra Dove.
Hi again, everyone. When I came a few weeks ago and I ended up speaking about the cuts at Peninsula High School, I was shocked. I had not heard about this, and it was really upsetting to find that one of our programs that really serves our most marginalized students was being cut so egregiously. And then the next day I went back to Mills High School and I learned that our therapeutic elective class, our tech program, is being consolidated to another site. And it just speaks to a narrative that I find really upsetting. One of the things that I'm so proud of being a district teacher here at SMUHSD is our mission and vision statement of identifying institutional barriers and seeking to dismantle those barriers to really serve our students and all of our students, and really centering our students and their needs. And what I'm noticing is that these decisions are really flying in the face of that, and it breaks my heart. As Angela just spoke about, I'm the other activities director at Mills High School, so I've had the pleasure of working with our tech students in our leadership class, and it has been phenomenal for those students and all of our students to have these voices centered, highlighted, to see them really thrive in this position. Personally, I can speak to the fact that I've taught several of the students that are currently in our tech program. I taught them when they were freshmen in our ethnic studies classes. And in those traditional classes, these students were struggling. They were not thriving. They were not receiving the supports and resources that they desperately needed. And when we brought the tech program to our school, these students were able to receive the supports that they needed, and I've seen them thrive. I sub in that class a lot now, and it's amazing to see these kids who I saw struggle so much as freshmen, and now as juniors and seniors, be happy, be emboldened, be empowered, be all the things that we want our students when they leave our schools being able to do. And that was because of the tech program, because they were able to stay in their community and continue to build connections, build community, and receive the support through the tech-specific teacher, the tech-specific therapist, and the instructional aid, and be in this small program at their home site. And it breaks my heart. Next year, we plan on having 2 students, one returning and one student who would be new to leadership from the tech program. This is a student that struggled so much, and now because she is thriving so much, she wants to challenge herself in the leadership class and really help create our community. And I worry for her because that's not going to happen, because she's either going to go to another school to follow her tech teacher, or she's going to stay at our school and not receive those supports and resources that she needs. These are our most marginalized students. And when we think about providing resources, these are the students that we are failing if we move the tech program. And I really encourage you to really rethink this. I don't know if that's something that you're able to do in this moment in time, but these are conversations that need to happen. Please stand up for our mission and vision statement and hold these students and their needs, these most marginalized students and their needs, and center that, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone online?
There is, President Land. We have Laura Hansen.
Is there more than one or just?
There's a 2.
Okay. So Laura, are you there? Don't forget to take off the mute. And you can start whenever.
Thank you, President Land and board members, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Laura Hansen, and I am the school psychologist at Mills High School. I'm here today to talk with you about the planned closure of the therapeutic elective class at Mills High School for the 23-24 school year. Currently, there's a therapeutic elective class, or TEC, or TEC, program at each comprehensive high school in the school district. Each therapeutic classroom is staffed with a special education teacher, therapist, and instructional aide to serve students whose mental health needs are so significant that they require substantial mental health services through special education. Across the district, students in our therapeutic classrooms are among the most marginalized in our communities. The majority of these students are at the intersection of disability and race. I've been so proud of the work and the progress the students have made within the therapeutic elective classroom at Mills, bearing witness to and supporting our most vulnerable students as they grow academically, socially, and emotionally is the most joyful and important work of this job. Over the past 5 years at Mills, I've referred a number of students who missed weeks or months of school at a time due to anxiety, depression, and other mental health conditions to the TEC program. Once in the class, their attendance skyrockets as they build supportive peer relationships and build trust with a number of adults who support TEC. Closing the therapeutic elective classroom at Mills will cause irreparable harm to our students, both the students currently enrolled in TEC and Mills students who will need to access these substantial supports in the future. With the closure of a therapeutic classroom at our site, Mills will be the only comprehensive high school in our school district without a spectrum of mental health services for our most marginalized students. Students and families will not have to make the decision to either transfer from their home school community or risk not receiving the intensive mental health services that they need and that they deserve. I understand that because of budget challenges and enrollment changes in our district, tough decisions have to be made. But eliminating services away from our most vulnerable students is the wrong decision. This decision goes against our equity vision and mission and is a clear example of a system not supporting its most vulnerable population. I'm asking the board to urge the administration to reconsider this plan. Thank you for your time, and I hope to further this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next person is
Serena Arge.
Serena. Serena, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Excellent. Yes,
All
we
right.
can. You may begin.
All right, great. So I'm a teacher at Mills High School, and I have the honor of having students and tech students in my classroom. And it's just such a beautiful thing because I've been at Mills for 8 years, and before the establishment of this program, we had a different one, and I've had students be in it, and they would only be in there for a short amount of time. But with the structure of tech and the way that it's been run at Mills is that it really has fostered a community where some of my strongest artists, the most deep thinkers, and the ones that really, really need to have those supports, even though that they're being very successful in my class, they're only successful because of the intensive needs that they have and how they're being supported. And I'm really, really upset and fearful. And I kind of also to reiterate, we're not really doing any good on our equity mission statement if we're not centering our most marginalized students. And these are our most marginalized students. Just to give an example of just kind of like the level of care, a student didn't come back to class to take a bathroom break. Because of the tech teachers and the teachers that are in that space, I immediately text. And then I was later informed that actually saved that student's life. It's like, this is the level in which our students that are in this class tier 3, they're going to want to either stay at our site, but they're not going to be getting the supports and the intensive care that they are getting. And they're not going to be able to stay and be successful. And it's like puts them at risk, even higher risk. So I think we need to really reconsider when we say that we're focusing our most marginalized, when we're actually cutting the essential programs that serves them. And we should stop looking at them as a number, but really, really understand what's going. And we're not actually hearing their voices and understanding what this actually does to serve them. We need to be more student-centered, and we need to really understand that the actual impacts that this has. And it's really awful that we're just thinking that it's a number. This is way more than a number. These are the students that are the most marginalized in our community, and we need to do better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we complete?
That is all.
Okay, thank you. All right. Governing board comments. Anyone want to start? I'm not going to do any particular order, so.
I'll start.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to start with land acknowledgement. I have borrowed this from our Cappuccino High School students. It says that we acknowledge that our campus or that our district lies on the ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone. The Ramaytush are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula, whose land was stolen from them and whose native language was lost because of Spanish colonization. As settlers on stolen land on the peninsula, we should be alongside the Ramaytush, remembering and honoring their ancestors and relatives. We thank the first people, the Ramaytush Ohlone, for taking care of the land we use now for education and activities. Our responsibility of caring for the earth is unique and personal to each of us, but should be rooted in allyship with the Ramaytush Ohlone, so we can work together to protect and preserve the land for future generations. On May 1st, I attended the City of San Mateo Council meeting online, and they were recognizing a lot of our students that had a 4.0 through all 4 years of high school. And it was really nice to see. It was Hillsdale, Aragon, and San Mateo. It was all San Mateo schools. So thank you, City Council, for acknowledging our youth, and thank you for the students for making us so proud. I attended the Empowerment Through Action graduation ceremony last night, and it was really, really great. There were a couple students that really just moved me. One student was super involved and advocating to the legislature on behalf of people who have experienced relationship violence. And she was just pretty phenomenal. And there was another young woman who works a ton. She has like a full-time job, and she goes to school here, and then she also works on campus. And it's just students like that need a lot more support and just acknowledgement, because they have situations that not all students have to experience, and for them to graduate and have such a great accomplishment is remarkable. I also wanted to say that I attended the San Mateo High School dance show on Saturday, and it was so awesome. It brought me back to high school myself. And it was just like, it was so great to see how much fun the students have. At the end, like, it's like they're a family and they're so happy. And to see students in their element is just, it's such a gift. So thank you. Avid's graduation was also this week. So congratulations to our Avid students. National Teachers Day was this week as well. And so, I appreciate all the teachers and what they do every day for our kids, our students. I think we have some of the best teachers in the world. So thank you. Let's see. On Saturday, I also attended Dia de los Niños, so Day of the Children. In Latin America, we have a day every year that we celebrate our kids. And that on Saturday, Trustee Blanco from San Bruno Park coordinates, along with the sponsoring from San Bruno Park, an event that I had never attended, but it was awesome. It had salsa music, and there were different community groups that performed. There was a ton of food and booths, and it was just really nice to see the community come out and have a great time. I read one of the school newspapers recently, and I didn't know there was a breakdancing club, and I was like, what? Because it was so awesome. There's a breakdancing club at Aragon, so I wanted to give a shout out to that club, because I thought that was really neat. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and there are a ton of activities and events having, so please make sure that you attend some of them. There was a webinar on messaging around suicide prevention this week, and for us that are in school districts and different places that put out information to the community, it was a really nice chunk of information. We also had a webinar last week from the North Peninsula chapter of the ACLU on why San Mateo County needs unarmed responses to mental health crises. And unfortunately, there was an incident at Menlo Atherton High School this week or last week, excuse me, that really made me think about all of this stuff. And it's really important that we advocate for clinicians that can go out and address these issues when it comes to people that have a crisis, and not just worsen the situation with punitive symbolic representation. One Life Una Vida counseling services that our district contracts with is having a fundraiser called Under the Stars with Una Vida. And it's May 11th from 6 to 10 p.m. in Redwood City, and they provide specific mental health services and counseling service to our Latinx community that is so needed. And they're one of the only organizations that does that. Tomorrow there is an event at Woodside High School. It's a free poetry event for any youth that is interested in songwriting, TikTok creation, or rapping. There are also going to be parent workshops. It's from 10 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. at Woodside High School, and it's free. And so if people have the time and the bandwidth, there are a ton of different commissions and boards that really need the perspective of our youth and of our parents. And so, for example, the Youth and Family Committee for the Commission on Disabilities, the Juvenile Justice Delinquency and Prevention Commission, the Behavioral Health Commission, they have a youth committee, and the Suicide Prevention Committee. They have a lot of openings right now. With that said, in our community, we've had a lot of hate speech, a lot of vandalism, and a lot of issues around, and I don't want to use intolerance, because tolerating people shouldn't be the goal. It should be being inclusive and being loving of everybody. And so I just want to remind people that we are one community, and that is not okay here in any part of our community. So I stand with people who are being attacked for different reasons, and it needs to stop. So that's it. Thank you. I know, long-winded today, sorry.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Trustee Sanika, I love hearing your report out, so thank you for that. I did want to touch upon the Dias de los Niños, Dias de los Libres. That was on April 29th. It's always the last Saturday in April. I've attended those, being part of San Bruno Park School Board for 4 years. I've attended many years of those. It's always a fun, festive activity. It's an entire day for the family to come and enjoy. And you may have seen I posted about 80 photos on Facebook, and we're in a few of those photos, both of us together. Yeah. It's great. They had PTA booths from every elementary school site in San Bruno Park, with crafts that are absolutely free for all the children, all the kiddos. We had booths, I'll just say a few of them: the public library, the CHP, the San Bruno Police, the San Bruno Fire Department, CalFresh, San Mateo County WIC program, San Mateo County First Five, Star Vista, Peninsula Family Services, and many more. I put pictures on my Facebook post, and I shared them. I just think it's a great event for families. It's a great event for kids, and it's every April. It's always the last Saturday, and it's great because it is hosted by San Bruno Park School District, and it's a great day. I also wanted to give a shout out to all of our amazing students. I wanted to mention that the San Mateo Daily Journal has been having a ton of highlights about all of our students, and I just think it's great. And I wanted to let you talk about the dance, because they also talked about that as well. Because I think you've been attending the dances. Yeah. So that's my report out for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Jacobson.
Sure. Yeah. So I attended Night Moves, the 25th anniversary of the Night Moves show at Hillsdale last weekend. It was written up in the paper, as you say, and it was an incredible show. And Sabrina Braccini, she has been directing this for 25 years. And I feel like every single year, the level of professionalism and production goes up every year. And it's amazing how she's been able to keep up that energy. It does require a lot of parent support and volunteers, which I was involved in. And it was great to see the sets on stage and the kids performing. And we even had our athletic director on stage and our student success coordinator. They all had parts in the show, and it was fabulous. So just like you were saying, Trustee Andrade Zuniga, it brought me back to my high school days. And these are the things I'm so happy that our schools provide opportunities for our students to be involved in, because these are the things that they're going to remember more than, equations or chemistry moles or whatever. They're going to remember these things a lot more down the road. I also attended the Empowerment Through Action on Friday last week at Hillsdale. They had invited the trustees to come and just get acquainted with the program. So I observed, and I've seen the Peace Pantry before because I volunteered for it, but I also walked through their community garden and looked at they're starting a wardrobe closet. And I ordered a herbal tea at the cafe, the student-run cafe, that is entirely student-run, and all of the proceeds, the donations for the coffees, and go back to the students. I toured the Community Resource Center there and met the group leaders, and we had a nice little round robin talk. It was great to be in the Community Resource Center and feel the space where the kids can come and just kind of get a breather in their day and sit in a circle in their groups and connect with each other and with their leaders and feel really seen and supported in that environment. They brought in some students to share their experiences, and they also talked about how they have been mentoring and connecting with the 8th graders from Abbott who will be coming in and giving them orientation. I was really impressed with these students, and I'm happy that you attended the graduation. I think this is a wonderful program, and it's doing a lot of good for these students. And I'm hoping that we can talk about how to replicate this program at more sites in our district. So I also wanted to thank our speakers who gave public comment today and helping us be aware of what's going on. Thank you. All right, that's all.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, first, I'm going to say I'm extremely jealous because being a principal, I never get out to see what you all are doing because I'm working. So I really am sad that I don't get to do that. But it's the 100 days of May, which is a teacher term that we use because it's crazy time right now for all schools. And it's just, we're all hands on deck doing things after things. And but I am grateful that I get to hear what's going on in the community. And I know how wonderful it is for our students to have experiences like that. I mean, one of the things that I really value as an educator is a book called The Power of Moments by the Heath brothers. And actually Principal Gilbert and Hillsdale is part of this book because it talks about a video where it talks about what's as fun as going to the prom. And it's something that they did at Hillsdale, the courts, and putting people on trial and creating those peak moments. And you are all talking about peak moments, which is what we all remember. And that helps learning and that helps kids. And so I really feel that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that. You were talking about replicability. God, I say that 3 times fast. Anyway, but with that, I want to say that the Kent Awards, which is the San Mateo School Boards Association awards, really prides itself on trying to find activities that are programs in our county that does that. And we are going to have those awards on May 19th at 5:30. I invite all of you. And the reason I'm inviting all of you is San Mateo Union High School District has 2 awards. We won 2. Yes. So we have, not only do we have our San Mateo's Union High School District Mental Health and Wellness Program, which won an award. We also have Hillsdale, you guys were talking about it, Empowerment Through Action Award. So both of those won, and I'm hoping that we all represent and go and be part of it and celebrate that. So please, it's on our San Mateo County School Boards Association website. So if you're interested, please, it's really easy, and sign up, and hope you're there. I also want to thank Lehia for being part of our nominating committee for the San Mateo. She's been helping us out, making sure we fill up our area reps and get our nomination committee together. I did want to mention something that I saw on LinkedIn. Laura Chockley, our communications director, has done an outstanding job and always brings out the best. And I was on LinkedIn and I saw what was happening with our chess club at Burlingame. And I was so impressed. I'm like, oh my God, I want to go there. And, I want to see the library in action with chess club and with just the chess people playing and how great that resurgence. Well, I'm a total geek and I was the president of the chess club. So I am going to play. I used to play speed chess all the time in my old high school. So brings back memories. I also want to say thank you to Superintendent Booker and Yancey to talk about budget. We were on a Zoom together. I appreciated it. I got a lot of clarity about budget, but I do want to say that, I am concerned about these cuts because, again, we talked about equity and again, it's coming up in the conversations that we've been having tonight and what we've been hearing about. One of the things that I always live by, and this is for my fellow board members because I've been doing this for a long time, and one of the icons of what I believe in is that we do the cuts farthest away from the classroom. And so I really believe in that as part of what is my philosophy. And I hope that you guys do too, because it is concerning that these classroom cuts are happening. And if we're not considering other cuts, I think we need to. So I hope we get to the budget and we can talk about it again. I know we're in declining enrollment. That is a factor and we have to take that into account. So I'm not blind to that, but it's something that I think we need to concern ourselves with. So, okay. Anyway, that's all the public, that's all the governing board comments.
Can I say one last thing?
Okay.
I do want to thank you for your leadership in CSBA. I think that you're always in every space, you're always there with a smile and you're very you're a good leader. And so I really appreciate you.
You just made my
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Say something real quick.
Oh my God, no. I'm just kidding.
You just came back from Washington, DC. I don't. You might want to speak to some of that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, because last time
I talk about it last
you
week?
kind of did, but you kind of half asleep, and so you just did a few sentences. But you want
good Lord.
to highlight what, because you were on a plane and then you came to the board meeting and you
Literally, I
you
was
were
tired.
energized, but you were the energized bunny. You went from place to place to place. But I thought if you want to say
Well,
something,
I will say this. Okay, so the program that is CSBA was, and it was with AXA too. So it's part of not only just school board members, but also the California administrators. We were the California delegation to talk to congresspeople about certain concerns that we had. We dealt with special education. Do you realize, and I even talked with Yancey about this. We only received like 9% of the 40% that was afforded, what that we originally were supposed to be guaranteed by the federal government when it was when special ed was initiated 45 years ago. And that's just a horrendous fact. And so trying to even convince anyone to try to allocate more money for special education is just really difficult, which kind of leads into what we were talking about earlier. That was one thing I was advocating for from the federal level. Hopefully there could be a change or at least a dent. The second one was about Social Security. The fact that teachers and educators who are on pensions do not have the right to switch career. If they switch careers, they do not get access to their Social Security. And again, if we could have laws that could change that, I think that's really important. And so we were trying to advocate for getting not just Social Security for those who change careers, but also if your spouse has Social Security and they died, you lose you don't get access to their Social Security. So these kind of things are just common things that if you didn't know about. So I was trying to advocate for that. And
those old rules from a long time ago. That's what we're trying to change them.
Absolutely. So I'm hoping that our federal government and Congress people will do some changes. We were also talking about broadband and access at a federal level and cybersecurity. We're also talking about community schools and kind of what we're talking about with Gateway. It was talking about problems with that as well. So it was really, really interesting. It kind of tied into a lot of the stuff we just talked about tonight. Anyway, so
there's some
I really appreciate the kudos for that. I thought,
that's a big trip to make.
These Thursdays are kind of blending. I forget because we had so many together. I did want to get that on the record there. Sorry.
Fifth in a row. This is our fifth in a row.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Well, and thank you to our interpreters and our ESL interpreters. So thank you.
Anyway, I do want to just commend our two programs that got celebrated with Kent Awards, and I'm really proud of us that we got that. So Hillsdale and our whole district. So awesome. So without further ado, there no communications to the board of directors. The board of trustees. Recognition, I'm going to turn it over. Education Appreciation Month, Dia de los Maestros. I'm going to let you do it.
Thank you, President Land. So This evening, we have the Educator Appreciation Month proclamation to offer, but just a few notes ahead of time. So we're doing it maybe a little different this year in that one of the things I said to our educational community is that I look at all of our colleagues across the district as educators, and it doesn't matter what role you're in, whether you're a teacher or SPOE or whatever it might be, administrative assistant, payroll technician. You've all chosen to work in education. And so therefore, in my mind, you are an educator. You touch the lives of students daily, you interact with students daily or their families or have some kind of impression. And so what we did, and I want to thank Laura Chalkley in helping to draft this, is we took a lot of the recognition that happens in the month of May across our educational community, and we kind of combined it into one proclamation. And we did that quite purposefully to really acknowledge and honor that everyone who works in San Mateo Union High School District are educators, and we value them equally. So this is San Mateo Union High School District's Educator Appreciation Month proclamation, May 1st through the 31st, 2023. Whereas the San Mateo Union High School District recognizes that a person's title or role in the district, all of our employees are educators charged with the awesome responsibility and privilege to inspire, nurture, and teach our students so that they may achieve their best possible personal outcomes. They are all educators by virtue of their choice to work in our district and work with our students. Whereas the district recognizes that Teacher Appreciation Week is May 8th through the 12th, 2023, and that May 10th is California Day of the Teacher. Our district is home to approximately 550 certificated staff who deliver a world-class education to our nearly 9,000 students. These individuals have an impact on students well beyond their high school years. Whereas the district recognizes that May 21st through 27th is Classified Employee Week. San Mateo Union High School District is home to approximately 537 classified educators who support the growth and education of not only our students, but staff and school community. Whereas we recognize that May 1st through 5th is School Nutrition Employee Week, and that May 5th is School Food Hero Day. In our district, we employ 31 food heroes. And whereas School Bus Driver Appreciation Day was recognized on April 25th, our school bus drivers are often the first and last educators to interact with the learners that they serve every day. We employ 21 school bus drivers. And whereas May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and furthermore, May 12th is celebrated as National Appreciation Day for mental health providers. Our district employs 39 educators in the mental health field to support the needs of our students and our school community. Whereas the district wishes to recognize our health service educators in the month of May for their relentless attention to the health and well-being of our students and their fellow educators. And we have 12 educators in health services. And whereas the district recognizes that U.S. Schools Principals Day falls on May 1st every year, these educators in our district lead, educate, and inspire their entire school communities. And whereas we all recognize that as educators in the San Mateo Union High School District, we have at most 4 short years with our students to educate, inspire, teach, and support them on their path to educational and professional success and well-being beyond high school. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Trustees of the San Mateo Union High School District that May is designated as SMUHSD Educator Appreciation Month and recognizes and appreciates the commitment of all of our educators to improving the lives of our students. Just a big thanks to all of our educators for everything that you do day in and day out.
I appreciate the inclusiveness of that list.
Yeah.
Including principals on May 1st. I just want to say.
So congratulations on that.
May 1st. Yeah.
May
Well,
1st.
there's folks that don't really get recognized. And
Yeah.
so I'm glad that
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
I
able
really
to
appreciate the
name that.
inclusive.
Yeah, thank you.
It is a proclamation.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion.
All right, motion made.
second.
Yep.
Second made for the proclamation. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is 4-0 with one absent. Huh? Leah.
Yes.
Leah, it was. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Now we are on the consent agenda. Does anybody want to pull any item or shall we approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve.
Okay, motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion made by trustee Jacobson, seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried 4-0 with one absence. Okay, moving on in our agenda, regular reports, report of the superintendent, Superintendent Booker.
Thank you very much. I know we have a really long meeting ahead of us. So all I want to say is, again, this kind of is part and parcel with the proclamation we just read. And that is just such a tremendous thanks to all of our educators for the month of May. It is a long month. We're trailing down to the end of the school year. And just to let the parent community know that our focus is really twofold, ensuring that our seniors graduate or on path for graduation. And if they're not, that we have a plan for them post San Mateo Union High School District and support them and their families. And then additionally, doing all the planning we can to ensure that the start of the fall semester is smooth and we're ready to welcome in our new ninth graders because we're really, really excited about them. So just a lot to juggle and handle, and just big thanks to all of our educators for staying kind of strong and awake and invigorated for these last few weeks of school. And I'm really, really looking forward to all the graduations. And it's really weird because I used to be part of a district that I would go to all of the different celebrations, and the way that we have it kind of scheduled, I have to painfully pick and choose what I can go to, which is weird, but really excited about
lots of high schools.
Yeah, lots of high schools. So,
We just have
Lots of
so
kids.
much amazing stuff here.
Yeah.
So,
it's really great. So that's all.
Thank you. All right. Next is for the District Teachers Association representative. Hey, Craig.
Hey.
Good evening, President Land, members of the board, district cabinet, and members of the community. 100 days of May. It's hard to believe. Well, it's often sometimes surprising how significant it is, even after so many years of doing this. I want to thank Superintendent Booker for his kind words about all educators in the district, and really including everyone in the fold in terms of what we do for students and what we do for the community. So I truly appreciate his recognition. The couple of other comments, Trustee Land, I'm so happy that you've gotten involved or at least excited about the looking at the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset with respect to Social Security. We are one of only 15 states in the nation that has such draconian policies that are so restrictive on our educators and on many public employees, in fact. And so I hope that we can continue, CTA's and NEA's longstanding opposition and endeavor to change those rules, and maybe perhaps we can work collaboratively on many levels. This is the time of AP tests, college commitments, graduation prep. And as you say, graduation is right around the corner. This is my 30th graduation year in this district. It's going to be a special one. Dr. Black might agree. But we're looking forward to the end of the year and prep for that. And now to just to reiterate a couple of things I said last meeting, I shared some positive comments about negotiations, specifically regarding the cordial and professional discourse at the table. Last week's session, to a significant degree, was a continuation of that relatively positive discourse. Because I'm sure that none of you are on our private association email list. Just a quick check. Yeah, I don't think so. Just want to but I just thought I'd share, in the interest of transparency, an excerpt of a message to the membership from our negotiations chair regarding the last session, just so you're clear on where we're at as a membership. I quote, "Today's bargaining session allowed us to find common ground with the district on a number of relatively minor issues, but those still represent progress and are helpful in the goal of reaching a full agreement. More importantly, the session on the 26th allowed our team to express to the district some of the significant values that matter to our membership. Number one, that we should be compensated fairly. Number two, that our health benefits, which we believe are truly a benefit in employment and not compensation, are a powerful force in making our jobs and our lives more manageable. Number three, that every single additional student that is pressed into our total contacts load represents more work and unquestionably diminishes our ability to meet the needs of all students. Four, that the nature of teaching and the world of education, as many of you know, have become more complex and more difficult in recent years. And five, that the district and the association should have a mutual interest in decreasing any and all unnecessary burdens placed on teachers. We ended the session today with our team expressing these values to the district teams. They might have the opportunity to agree or disagree with any or all of them. End quote. To be clear, this should really be a no-brainer. All of these values and priorities represent, well, or should represent, shared interests for all members of our school communities. We look forward to our next session on the 15th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the report of our CSCA Chapter 519 representative. Hello, see you in person again. This is awesome.
Right, so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting us take our time to say hello to everybody and hello to all the people that made the extra effort to attend in person. We had great negotiations at the beginning of the week. We worked collaboratively and very kindly. We had some nice negotiation conversations and we're able to come to a conclusion. We have all our tentative agreements set up, total of 13 versus 11. It's a lot. So I would love to say that this was good, that we're ahead of the game, but we really aren't. This is actually for the last year, but it's done. We can look forward. And I'm very happy that it worked well together, that we all worked well together and had the support that we needed from everyone. And I really appreciate everyone's extra effort in making that happen. So thank you to everybody. And let's go to the next year.
All right.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have our report from the San Mateo Adult School Teachers Association.
I have no one this evening.
Okay, that's good. Well, that's not good, but hey, we'll move on. It's a big agenda today. All right, so I'm moving to the presentation of our 2021-22 Citizens Oversight Annual Report and 21-22 Measure O&L Annual Financial and Performance Audit. Turn it over to Superintendent Booker.
And I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Hawkins to do the introduction.
All right.
So the Citizens Oversight Committee for both measures O and L are some of the most unsung heroes in our district. You know, the committee works tirelessly and to not a lot of fanfare. They review contracts, they review audit reports, they go on construction tours. And first I want to thank them for their service to the district. It's a pleasure to work with them. Annually, as required by Proposition 39, the Citizens Oversight Committee is required to give an annual report to the board and the community. That report is supported by a required financial and performance audit. And tonight, I am very happy to introduce, I know a lot of you know Erica is already, but Erica Lyons, she's a member of the Citizens Oversight Committee for several years now. Yeah.
One.
No.
Yeah.
One?
No, 2 annual reports.
Maybe
Yep.
it just feels
There,
like it.
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say.
Time flies.
This
You're
is the second round.
COC.
I've seen.
We
So-
just got started.
It feels like
That's good.
your
That's
second.
a
This is
great
your
way to
second
be.
annual report.
Mhm.
So I will turn it over to Erica to present the trustees with the report.
It's great
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Hi,
Yeah.
everybody. Good evening. I'm Erica Lyons. I'm representing our committee tonight. I want to thank you, President Land, and all of the trustees. It's so great to see everybody. And it was really, I'm a parent here in the district. I have a I have a dancer here at San Mateo High. And I have to confess, I'm still on show high.
She was excellent.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Excellent.
It's been a long time since she's been on a stage and it was just amazing. And so, educators, parents, it takes a village to get this all done. So thank you. So I want to thank you all for the opportunity to present tonight. And I want to thank my fellow COC committee members for all of the work that we've done. I have to confess, the construction tours are so much fun. Sometimes you even get to go on them on your birthday, as I did this year. So, and it was, I'm kind of a construction nerd, and so I kind of like it. So one of the important things that we do with the Citizens Oversight Committee, and what attracted me to the committee, not just my friend twisting my arm, was that, we have a responsibility to be good stewards of the public's money. And how do we make sure that the dollars are being spent well? So we draft and approve this annual report for everybody's review. And so it's the summary of the work that we did with the committee and the bond programs from 2021 and 22. Go through it with trust me, the fine tooth comb. We go through down to the, hey, somebody double spaced. Do we stick a comma here? And the English nerd in me just kind of goes, okay, this is wow, mind blowing. So, so we are, everything is all based on our quarterly meetings. As we said, the construction tour is my personal favorite. The approval of the required financial documents, which make my head hurt when I read them, and performance audits, review projects, contracts, change orders, yay, and financial updates. So at our last meeting, we approved everything, went through everything. Terry was there. She can attest. We all, I think we all really like each other as people.
Yeah.
And so that's what sort of makes it kind of fun. So, so we've got the clean financial and performance audits also for your review. And if anybody has any questions, I'm so happy to answer them. So.
Where's Simon?
Not here.
No, I'm joking. I worked with him on a preschool board a million years ago in Palcare, and we were on a board of directors there together. So I was hoping to see him. I'm like, I saw his name and I'm like, okay, Simon, where are you? Anyway, joking around. Sorry. I'm opening this up to questions. Sorry. Anyone have any comments, questions?
I just want to say that being part of that one meeting I had, we went through every page, word by word, spacing by spacing, capitalization. I don't have any questions because I was part of the group that thoroughly reviewed this. Thank you for your presentation. It's great.
Oh,
great work. Great work on the
You're
team.
very welcome.
I just have a comment. I was on the COC last year, and they are an amazing group of people who are very, very knowledgeable and very dedicated and committed to this district and to the measure. So thank you for your service with us.
You're welcome. I'm inspired by all of you, and I want 2 more years of all of this.
Done.
No, I mean of a child in the district. I want some more time.
Oh, I thought you meant the committee.
Oh no, I'll come back.
Oh yeah,
I'll come back.
Awesome.
Hey, why not?
I think
So any other questions? Anything anybody
I
needs to know?
just have a comment. I want to thank you for your service. And that is my favorite committee. I think I'm a construction and accounting, where those two intersect. I really enjoy it. I don't know how I missed a meeting because I can't keep up with all the calendar changes every time somebody sends something out, but I enjoy the tours, and everybody there takes their responsibility so seriously, which is good for the public trust.
Well, and it's been amazing to see the changes going on. And when I meet parents who are going to come in, I said, oh boy, wait till you see what's awaiting you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fields, I can't stop talking about the fields, and I'm so excited to see some groundbreaking on the 15th and 16th of this month, because we have a lot of it's a really exciting time to be in this part of the peninsula with our schools. So hang on and enjoy the ride.
I'm just going to say, I am not a fan of the committee because it's so much work, but I am so impressed because I've done it before and I've seen all the work that we have to do. And for years I was part of that, and just the amount of work and what you have to look at is incredible. And I just have to say, kudos to all of you who are willing to do it, because it is so much fine tooth comb, looking over numbers, making sure. It gives me a headache sometimes. So I'm more than impressed and so grateful that we have a committee that does this. So thank you so much. We really appreciate all the work that you do.
Say hi to Wanda. We go way back. She's
I
great.
know,
I
I
love her.
know. You guys,
All right.
thank you. Anything else?
I think we're good. I think all we have to do is accept the vote. We have to accept the report with a motion.
I move to approve the report.
Okay.
I second that.
All right. There's been a motion and a second to accept the annual reports. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the vote is now 5-0 because now we have Trustee Griffin present, correct? Yes. Okay. All right. That is it for that. We are moving on to Measure L, Construction and Planning Update.
All right.
Yancy, I bet that's you.
That is me.
All right.
And more specifically, it's Mr. Quintana. And as he does all the real work here. I'm like Bob, I love the accounting and the construction part, and letting the experts get down to business and looking at it. So we're really excited tonight to bring a summer construction and planning update. We had a report earlier this year that kind of went over an overall program update, but this really is focused on us moving forward with a real focus on what's going on over this summer. You probably aren't surprised because you see you have to approve all the projects, contracts, change orders, et cetera. But we have 18 projects going on in the district. And this, when I was speaking with our construction management firm, Greystone West, they said this is the busiest construction summer in 15 years in this district. So thank you to the sites. As you know, having your home remodeled while you're trying to live in it is not the easiest. So I want to say thank you to our students and our sites for putting up with us. We hope that our goal is for it to be worth it for the wonderful facilities that they'll have moving forward. And I think as everyone saw the new fields at Cappuccino and Mills, I think it is going to be worth it. So I turn it over to Jose Quintana, who leads our bond program.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good evening, President Land, Board of Trustees, Executive Leadership, Superintendent. Thank you for joining here tonight and presenting this summer construction and planning update for our bond measure L. Our agenda is going to be on projects in construction, projects starting construction, summer of 2023, projects in design, and finally, financial summary. Project in construction are 3 transite projects that started last summer. These are Aragon, Hillsdale, Mills High School, and should wrap up this August before school commences. Additionally, we have San Mateo High School new tennis courts and baseball improvements that started about a month and a half ago now and should be wrapping up here during the summer. Our project construction vitals for the transite projects, we have HED design for Aragon. Approved budgets were 19.63 million and current project costs are 18.66. Our schedule for construction is due to wrap up in August of 2023, and it's on schedule. Hillsdale High School Transite Project. This is HYA, our architect. Our approved budget is 20.98, and our current projected cost is 19.47 million. The schedule for completion, August of 2023. Our current project is on schedule. We also have Mills High School Transite Panel Encapsulation. HED Design is the architect. Our approved budgets are 16.55 million and current project costs are 14.2 million. 14.02 million. Scheduled to completion for August of 2023, and our current project is on schedule. Now, San Mateo High School tennis courts and baseball and softball improvements are architect is Carducci and Associates in our approved budget. This project measure had been added, so it was that's why we didn't have an approved budget amounts there. But our current project costs are 3.49 million, and it's scheduled to completion in August of 2023, and it's currently on schedule. Here's some of the pictures for our transite encapsulation at Aragon High School, and once again, due to completion this summer. Hillsdale transite encapsulation, a couple of pictures there, and we do have Meals Transit Encapsulation Project, a couple of pictures there that just highlight some of the work completed. San Mateo High School tennis courts replacement. It's a little bit more advanced than this picture. This is about a week old. We've taken advantage of the dry spells we have now, and I know the rain is back, but we've definitely been able to put some curbs and concrete on there, so it's moving along nicely. Project starting construction summer of 2023. These are just some of the highlights here. There are a couple more that are in detail. Like I said, 18 projects this summer, so every site has gotten a vital on it and what that entails for each specific project and site. So Aragon High School has 2 items starting this summer. These are the new lighted baseball flex field and our swimming pool competition lighting and replaster. Burlingame will have a new gymnasium complex, as well as something that's not part of the measure bond, but the football field turf replacement. Hillsdale High School will have a few projects going on: the swimming pool competition lighting and replaster, and the cafeteria acoustic and audiovisual improvements, and our HVAC controls, and dealing with our wireless systems there. San Mateo High School will have a new small gym commencing and the boiler chiller replacement project. We'll also have the swimming pool competition lighting project starting this summer, and once again wrapping up the tennis courts. We'll also have the district-wide fire alarm replacement and procurements to begin 2023, but installation start 2024 due to supply chain issues. Hillsdale High School will also have a tennis court replacement project commencing summer of 2023. So okay, some of the vitals here for the projects that are starting. Burlingame High School Gymnasium Complex is QKA is our architect and a $30 million approved budget. Our current projected costs are at $40.52 million, scheduled to start construction June of 2023 through January of 2025, about 19-month project. Current projects is on schedule, and we are to do some groundbreaking here with our ceremonies May the 15th and 16th here. Hillsdale High School cafeteria acoustic and audiovisual improvements. Our architect is DSK, and our approved budget is $1 million. Current project cost is $600,000, and these are projected to complete August of 2023, and we're on schedule. Hillsdale High School HVAC controls replacement. Capital Engineering is the architect, and our approved budget is $600,000, and our current project cost is $570,000. And scheduled to completion September 2023. It's currently on schedule. San Mateo High School new small gym, QKA is our architect, and the approved budget was $20 million. Current project cost is $22.58 million, and scheduled to start construction June and December of 2024 for completion. And the current project is on schedule. San Mateo High School boiler chiller replacement. HYA is our architect, and approved budget was $6 million. Current projected cost is $3.9 million, and scheduled to commence construction June of 2024 through September of 2024. And this project is on schedule. District-wide fire alarm replacement. Our architect is HYA. Approved budget is $13.8 million, and the current projected cost is $14.32 million. Schedule is for June 2023 through August of 2025. Current project is on schedule. High school, Hillsdale High School tennis courts replacement. Our architect is Carducci and Associates, and our approved budget is $1.84 million, and current project cost is $2.84 million. Schedule is from June of 2023 through to September of 2024. Current project is on schedule. This project is funded by deferred maintenance and not Measure L. Just wanted to note that.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
So that's going to take starting June this year through the whole year. It won't be done till next September in 2024.
That's correct, because we found some unforeseen conditions here on this site. There was an additional, I believe, 4.5 feet that we need to excavate. And within that, we found some pesticides. And so it rises that level of disposal, as well as some drainage that was found there that is old and needs to be replaced. There's also some underground electric that needs to be rerouted and reconnected. So that is going to be a project that's going to entail this timeframe.
Okay.
Yeah.
My daughter's on the tennis team. That's
Oh.
where are they going to play? Where are they going to play?
Right.
All right, thanks.
And Principal Jeff Gilbert is, obviously and well in tune in
Yeah.
the sports program.
I
I'm
was
sure.
just hoping it was a typo, but it's not. That's all.
Unfortunately, it's not. Thank you for the question. So this is the schematic design for San Mateo High School here that shows the northwest elevation or the corner. And we've presented these before, and so nothing's really changed on that other than some of the interior schematics. And this is the northeast corner of San Mateo High School small gym. This is a view from the south or the front of Burlingame High School, the new gym that will be going in starting this summer. And the view from the field or the west side showing and displaying just the magnitude of this building. This is the lobby for the Burlingame High School gym. We'll have, once again, a court on the lower and a court and the second floor. So this is that portion that you're seeing here. This is the lower, the main gym, and going up to the second floor. And this is our vestibule area. Project and design, Burlingame High School is our music room modernization. And we're currently waiting for our DSA to come out of that and start this project, as well as a district-wide solar project that we just had some meetings with and moving right along and selected a contractor for this. So it's just about ironing out some of the details. District-wide HVAC controls, and that's still in design with capital engineering. So we come to the brass tacks, financial summary. So the overall here leaves us with a under budget of $8.63 million here. There are some projects that were added to the measure that have adjusted these numbers, but overall, we're in great shape for these measure projects currently. Given the climate of procurement and some of the items like chain link fence and dealing with any electrical items, we found it a bit challenging to procure these items, but I think with our lease back process or method, we've been able to acquire and procure these items at minimal cost impact.
Just to, as finance come up, so your CBO is going to jump in here. I want to note that the board approved Measure L budget is the original budget from 2020 that was in. When we look at a project, when we bring the final to you, we always look at the schematic design budget because that's when the board has looked at the project, looked at the full scope and determined that. And that's how we judge project by project. But I put here because this is how we're looking at our program. When we look at the overall allocated funds by project, I look at overall from the original budget. I think it's important to note that we have not used any of the program contingency in the measure yet. So that's $8.5 million to the good without use of any of the program contingency. So now, we're always worried about, escalation and different costs and scope creep, but we're feeling for being 242 million of projects allocated in and still being on and actually better than budget from originally, we're feeling really good.
Just a question on that. You didn't include the contingency of 8.5, but we do have developer fees revenue of 10 million on this. Why would we do that way?
Because we've added the developer fee revenue. We've moved it over. We've made the official designation to move it over. We haven't made any designations of any move of the contingency budget.
Okay.
So because the board took action on the developer fees in the last two developer reports, then we moved it in there.
Okay.
And it's important so we did add that we moved that over. But we've also recommended and the board approved adding about $17 million of other projects that weren't originally in the project, including the district-wide solar and the district-wide HVAC controls around sustainability and bringing some of our operating costs down. So really was a net $7 million hit to the budget, and we're still at 8.5 million. So we're feeling good.
I would agree. I think my only question that I had was about the BHS gymnasium going from 30 to 40 projected. Can you explain a little bit about, I don't know who gets to answer that one.
No,
so
I
that was my one concern.
Yeah, I think ultimately, when we looked at the project, met with the site, and truly came up with what was going to be the need for the next 60 years at that site. We determined that they needed a little bit more space, and then the cost on that went up. And so that was one of the reasons that we used the developer fee revenue is going to be moved in to support that. And the site understands that, they've used up some of their flexibility in terms of some other projects that actually are coming in under budget at the site. So they understand that that flexibility at the site.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Just additionally on that, for Burlingame High School, real estate is a prime there. And so, where we're going to get more square footage there. So
not my backyard. Anyway.
Right.
Literally.
Volunteers.
I really live close there. So
yeah. So second floor gym really made sense
made a
there.
difference.
And that investment.
Totally get it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
So with that, any questions on construction or summer impact?
Yeah.
Sites.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Got a couple of questions, and we'll see who wants to. I wrote down the state of the economy and the amount of contractors available to do the work and inflation. So all those things kind of contradict each other, because when the economy's been really hot, our bids have been coming in over budget. And, we've been kind of hand wringing about, well, where are we going to get the people?
Mm-hmm.
So now I think the economy is getting ready to cool off, but we still have some inflation. What are the impacts of these moving targets on the bond program?
They have differing impacts, obviously. The interest rate environment does a couple of things. Inflation, which in some ways is directly related to the interest rate environment, hurts us on procurement. When we're talking steel, when we're talking lumber, when we're talking other things like that. It also real estate is a business based on people loaning other people money.
Mm-hmm.
And so some other projects are potentially less desirable as real estate developers look at projects that may or may not pencil out with that. So that tends to have a cooling effect on the rest of on a lot of the building there. We're seeing a huge amount of statewide construction money at the state, and then even more local bond money. So our folks that we use really mostly focus on public works projects. And so who we're competing with, mostly is other public agencies around their work. So for our GCs, that's not as big, but for a lot of our subcontractors who do electrical work, who do plumbing work, who do, other types of work, they do work across public works projects and non-public works projects. So those impact. If we see a more significant turn down, Trustee Griffin, I do expect us to do well, given that we have cash in hand and we don't have the same interest rate risk as other real estate developers. As a point, folks who had bonds in 2006 to 2008, right before the Great Recession, were able to do construction between 2009 and 2012, 13, and get incredibly good pricing on that. So there's ups and downs on that. If the economy goes down, probably, bad for us overall as a district, but good for the construction program. And if not, the opposite. But
well, we benefited greatly during the great recession.
Yep.
And, but, construction is so cyclical that over the long run, there's periods where you're paying more than you should be or more than you expect. And then
Yeah.
there's periods where you actually have a lot of bidders and they're not making any money. But sometimes the downside with the bad economy and bidders cutting their prices is they don't always finish the projects they start.
Yeah,
We have to be diligent about that. And I think we already are. So.
Absolutely. And, given the climate, I think it's to our favor for the district. This is cash on hand where we're looking at, municipal bonds being favored over other bonds, other surety bonds. So that's something to keep them always at the forefront, that once this does calm down, it'll be to our favor.
I got one more question. It's on the transite panel encapsulation.
Yeah.
So, at one point you gave us the computer generated models, but it looks like this last photo was the real deal.
These are the real deal.
But
yeah.
Okay, so you must be staging the entire projects in because there's summer work.
Right.
So how are they staging that work?
A lot of coordination between site administrators, athletic directors, all personnel, construction management firms, subcontractors. It's all hands on deck pretty much. Staging the construction areas, and everyone stays out of it and they just go at it. There's a lot of times that we do put some overtime into that and stagger some of the work so it doesn't give us a fiscal, it won't impact us above and beyond with change orders with the overtime. So we're working with the sites. Sometimes our staff or our contractors come in midday at noon or 1 o'clock and work into what's allowable for the city if it's 4 or 5 or 6 p.m. So that's how we're able to accomplish this.
Because that has to be encapsulated doesn't it have to be sealed off while they're, and which is probably fairly disruptive.
Well, the system that was, it's a system that was designed for our sites. This hasn't happened before. So it's basically a track system that we go on top of the actual.
So you're not, that's right. You're not taking it,
removing
it out.
right.
You're sealing it up
Exactly.
forever.
Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one
Go ahead.
note. The groundbreakings for the two new gyms are our Laura will note, I believe the 16th and the 17th of May between 4 and 5 p.m. Burlingame and San Mateo. So come on out. It's gonna be fun.
What time?
Between 4 and 5 p.m. on the 16th and the 17th.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got to just remember it. Auditory learner.
San Mateo is on the 16th and Burlingame's on the 17th. Both are from 4 to 5.
I don't know if I'll be
So
able to.
we'll love to see you there. Thank you.
Don't pick sides, just come to both.
I wish.
The little big game.
One's in my backyard. So.
The little big king.
All right. Okay, moving on the agenda, we are looking at the spotlight on student learning,
Yay.
Student Equity Council. Who do I turn that over to? Julia.
All right, good evening. I'm excited to share a bit about the student equity teams. They've been in place at our schools for 2 years now, and we have some students that are online that are going to share a bit, and we have Alex here who's going to share a bit about Mills. And my clicker is not working.
Uh-oh. Yeah, they were having a little problem earlier.
Okay, you can go to the next slide.
Oop, there you go.
So the teams were started, if you remember, and initiated from the grand jury report, which suggested and gave us the recommendation to start groups of students at our schools to address and disrupt issues of hate speech and action on campus. And through that kind of initiation, we went into contract with an organization called Restorative Equity Partnerships. And this group has helped us come up with a recruitment plan, train our students, and also coach the teams through these last couple of years. You can go on to the next slide. So just to kind of give you a timeline of the work of them, in last year, we had all comprehensive schools initiate student equity teams. And we had really strategic recruitment. And what that looked like is ensuring that the student equity teams reflected the student body demographics of the school. So most of the teams really were looking to make sure that there were representatives from all of the different ethnic backgrounds, as well as different identities of students, like their interests, so that we'd have students with an IEP, a student that's really active in sports, a student that's really active in drama, so that there was this idea that this was a real cross-section of the school. Each team ended up being about 10 to 25 students. And last year, they went through 4 full days of trainings with REP. And then we also had Peninsula High School join in the spring, and they launched their team then. This year we had 8 sites. So Middle College was added, and they have a student equity team going now. And we did some tweaks to the program in that we decreased the amount of onboarding time. It was really great for that first year, I think, for the students to really be grounded. And then the idea is that we create some sustainability through it. So actually thinking about how do we support the students in onboarding new students as they come on. So it is a group of students who are 9th through 12th graders. So this year we just had 2 days for the new students, and then the coaching continued through REP. And then we know this year, at the end of this year, we're kind of bumping into some growing challenges. So we're just thinking about how do we integrate either the Student Equity Council into a class or a model that's a little bit more sustainable. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we go through the presentation. We do look into next year that we want to see the Student Equity Councils continue. You'll hear about some of their projects in just a minute. We're really excited that there's going to be a potential partnership with College of San Mateo. So they have a class that they've identified that we could have a dual enrollment class for these students. And then they would also get kind of hooked up to the student groups on the community college's campus. So we're looking to think about doing a pilot of that next year with 2 schools. And then we're also thinking about, right now, it's situated with some of our MTSS coordinators. I think we need to do more of a stipend model and have it open to all the adult leaders on the campus, because it's been and more situated as a club. And I'll explain that a little bit more as we go through. So some successes. Students have really had rave reviews about the training and the coaching and the opportunity to think like this. You'll hear a bit about that when you hear from the students. This idea that we kind of have launched last year as a district, that we need to start thinking about co-creating with our students. So there's been a lot of positive collaboration with our student equity teams and our tier 1 teams at the school. And when we're looking at student data, even here at the board level, thinking about how would students interpret it. And so that has been a lot of the work at the schools, and having a group of students that are trained to think about these kind of system issues have been really helpful to those conversations. And then you'll hear about a lot of the different projects. So the students went through these trainings, and really it was about them identifying an equity issue on their campus and thinking about how they, as a group of students, can go about addressing it and improving their school culture and climate, essentially. Next. Did I just skip over one? Yes, okay. Some of the other things that I just wanted to point out, and we've looked at this data already, but the panorama data is one of the ways that we're really tracking, the impact of the student equity councils. So we've seen good movement in the data, essentially 6% decrease in the instances of microaggressions on campus as reported by the students, 6% awareness among the student body about our hate speech and bias policies. And then a 7% students report that adults are responding more effectively. So we really see these as successes that are part of the work of our student equity councils. Now, I do want to have the students that we have online speak first, because they've been waiting there. And we have 2 students from Hillsdale. Hopefully they're online. We're going to speak a little bit about the work they've been doing. It's Marissa Kelly and Isabella Hermes. Do you see them there? Okay, awesome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me
Perfect.
too?
Yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us this evening. I'm Marissa and this is Bella. We're both juniors at Hillsdale High School and we represent YCLL. The Youth Catalyst Liberatory Leadership is a program used to support student equity councils, which is a student-led organization tasked with creating a safe and brave environment that interrupts a harmful narrative that allows healing to begin. I'll allow Bella to tell you a little bit about some of the interviews we've done and some of the results we've seen.
Yeah, so our Student Equity Council, we've been collecting data from a diverse group of students and staff with the goal of acquiring more data that surrounds issues of hate speech, bullying, and harmful language around our campus, and really trying to really clear the air with how much hate speech is going on on our campuses. And the way we gathered our interviews and all of our data was mostly through students asking students questions that Student Equity has pre-approved on just hate speech in general, and do you see it and do you report it? And I'm going to let Marissa take over.
So essentially, some of the data we've gathered is from either surveys that we as members have offered to the students at Hillsdale and for teachers. We've also conducted many interviews with one-on-one sittings or Zoom, and we also used the panorama data to get some results. And some of the results we found is we asked students and teachers, have you witnessed hate speech on campus? And 64.6% of students said yes, and 91.3% of teachers said yes. But then when we asked teachers if they've intervened, only 23.8% of them said no.
Wow.
And when we asked students, have you been a victim of bullying or hate speech? 49.3% said no, which means the other 50.7% said yes. And that just makes up some of the data that we gathered with the great team that's at Hillsdale. And we have worked together and we're planning to work with Hillsdale's administration on taking necessary steps forward to combating these issues. We all really care about Hillsdale and we're all very happy and we're very prideful and we're go Knights all the time. And so we plan to meet with administration on taking necessary steps. And we thank you very much for giving us this time and platform to support us. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. And Alex is going to speak. She has something to share from the students at Mills. I don't think they were able to be here, but she's going to share a little bit about their projects there.
Yeah, and I did have a video, but it didn't get loaded, so apologies for that. So at Mills, this is our second year with our Student Equity Council, and it's just been a really awesome process. One of the things we really love about it is that this is a space for all of our students to really have their voices heard. Another thing that we really enjoyed is the fact that there's a lack of a barrier to entry for this program. Unlike the leadership class, which I also teach, it's hard for all of our students to really get that diverse ability of voices in our traditional leadership classes and in a lot of our other programs, because a lot of our students are taking extra classes that don't have the time. And the Student Equity Council really provides a space for a lot of our students to really have their voices heard, a lot of our marginalized students to really be centered. So at Mills High School, through the coaching, our students really were able to look at the issues that we're facing on campus and really think in-depthly about not only what were the concerns, but what were some of the systemic root issues and the causes of some of the issues that they were facing. And they decided that one of the key things that they were really affected by was that there was a lot of distancing between groups, that our schools still had elements of segregated behavior amongst our students, and they really wanted to break that down and build more connection and unity on our campus. So they, through through the guidance of our leaders and our supports, they decided that one of the first things they wanted to do was they wanted to create a mural project. And then they also wanted to work on creating more activities and events for groups to be highlighted, especially some of our more marginalized groups, our less dominant groups on campus, and also spaces for our groups to interact and our students to really kind of enmesh and really learn and celebrate that diversity. So this year they've done a lot of street data, a lot of gathering, which has been actually really cool to see because this is a lot of stuff that we've been doing as adults on our campuses through our professional development. And it's been really neat to see our students kind of parallel those paths and take on a lot of those similar activities and skills. So through gathering the data, through gathering information, the students have been asking and gathering, and they've started to now finalize a little bit of what they want their mural to be. We've actually identified a location. It's going to be the entrance of our campus. So as you're coming out on campus, you're going to see what Mills really stands for. So we're really excited about that. And this is something that the students got to work on with our principal, with our head of facilities. So this is also showing that these kids are really developing skills beyond the classroom. These are a lot of life skills. And they're going to get to really see an impact and leave a lasting impact and legacy. So they're excited to, in the upcoming year, start really putting that mural on the walls. And then their next work is to really work with the leadership class, which is really nice because as MTSS coordinator and overseeing the SEC, I'm also a leadership teacher. So it's really been helpful to kind of be a person to really support those interests. So we're going to start working more on creating more activities and in more events for our students to really feel highlighted and shown. And if you want the video of my students speaking, I'll happily send it to y'all. But it's been really great. I love this program. I'm really glad, you know, again, this is kind of the things that like I'm proud of being a SMUHSD employee about, because these are things that, you know, we're doing great things and I'm excited to continue that work.
Yeah, please send it to
Yeah, we would love to
Superintendent
see it.
Booker, and
We really would.
we would love to see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So the other school that we just wanted to share a bit about, because what they're doing is really amazing. The students weren't able to make it and their coordinator wasn't either, but at Burlingame, they've started a podcast. And what this does is do interviews of students there and really hear different voices on campus. And I'm hoping to get the first version of that I'll also send along. And then they also really were interested in creating an alumni project to show the diversity of alumni at the school. So they have a running list of the BHS alumni and have interviewed 2 of them so far. And for our busy students, that was a lot for them. And they were extremely insightful interviews, and they're looking to transfer those actually onto posters. So they wanted their students there to be able to see what some of the alumni from their school are doing and reflect it back into the hallways there. So as we get more examples of this, I'll be sure to share it with you all. So just a couple of the challenges, and you know, like I said, it's difficult for the teams to find time during the day to meet. As Alex mentioned, many of the students have impacted schedules. And so the idea is like, how do we be creative about allowing the space and time for this to continue? And part of our partnership with CSM would allow us to maybe have a more unique schedule for a class where maybe they meet once a week and they get credits through asynchronous time as well. So those are some of the things that we're investigating. The other challenge is that the coordination has been with our MTSS coordinators, and because of the nature of their role, they have a hard time communicating with the students. So we're still working through some of those, you know, challenges, but it is amazing what kids can do when they just have that chance to come together and think about how they can, you know, bring some more brightness to their campuses. So that is our highlight. Other questions, or I said the couple next steps already, but finalizing our partnership with CSM, we're thinking about creating a more sustainable transition to in-house training for our student teams. So we're using outside trainers right now, and we're looking at how do we create a sustainable model so we don't have outside folks coming in. In our 3rd year, we think we're going to use a train the trainer type model. And then just continuing that focus on addressing hate speech on our campuses, because that was our original focus. And yeah, from there, take any questions that you might have.
Open it up to anybody. So Trustee Chavez?
Yeah, thank you, President Land. Thank you. I wanted to say this is excellent. Thank you for coming up and presenting and also the students who spoke. I mean, I'm just like my heart is melting. I can't even speak. I did want to mention that earlier, like a few months ago, I talked about school site council. And when I heard about the student equity councils being spoken about in our meeting, I said, well, I don't know anything about that. Can we have some kind of information? This is excellent. Julie, this is exactly, I mean, this is even more than what I was looking for. It really warms my heart. I love hearing the student voices. I love hearing their perspectives and their thoughts. And thank you please send the video. I mean, I feel like I want to be makes me want to go back to school, but
I know.
I do want to go back. Just hearing the student voices, it's great that a lot of the student voices can be heard at the SEC meetings. I think it's fantastic. So thank you for explaining this and presenting it. And thank you for all your involvement, all the teachers involved.
Yeah, I have something I just wanted to mention in terms, well, I want to say thank you first for this presentation. I had the chance to meet Bella yesterday at the ETA graduation. She's great and she was just nervous to be here, but they did great. There's a really good article in the Aragon newspaper about the hate speech situation. And Aragon, it seems like they have a pretty good model on how to address some of that, how to do some intervention. So maybe we can even have Principal Arbizu come and speak to us about what they do, or maybe in a report or something. That would be really interesting. But one of the things that had been mentioned was in the professional development with the teachers is that they wanted to get more information on how to address things. Like they talked about how they acted out some scenarios, but they really wanted like some tips on how to address it because some people didn't feel like they knew how. And so maybe that'll be something that can be given to them at the next professional development day or something. But this is wonderful. I echo Trustee Chavez. Anytime we hear from the students is great. So thank you.
Again, thank you to the students who spoke. Obviously, staff, wonderful. But thank you so much to the students that spoke.
But it also speaks to the public speaker that we had earlier, that was talking about how some of the students didn't feel seen. And that's definitely an issue, and so I'm glad that there are outlets like this that can start to address some of those feelings and change some of that perception and that experience. This is very validating. So thank you.
Anyone? Bob?
Yeah, I want to thank you for the presentation. A couple of questions, and I don't know that I saw it in the material, but it may be there. What are the terms of membership of the students in terms of how many years is anyone eligible to participate, or is that rotated or single years or?
Well, it's varies across the schools. Alex can speak to how they do it at Mills if you want a specific example.
Yeah.
So it is open to all students, but we did do an application process. So we actually took nominations we sent it out to all of our faculty on our campus and requested names, and then reached out to those students to basically say, hey, you've been nominated. And we also allowed some students to self-nominate themselves or peers. And then the first year we did a more robust interview process. The second year we condensed it quite a bit. Again, think about those barriers to entry. So these are students that were kind of identified, and we were intentional about really thinking about voices that have not often been heard on campus. So we, wanted to really cast a wide net of our students. And I think that's pretty applicable across the board for all of our sites.
That's so smart because to say you're nominated will make it more likely for them to want to participate.
Yeah. And again, a lot of the students are kids that have not often been highlighted in the traditional.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Question, because one of the problems was how to get time and a place to get all the work done. What are some of the potential solutions to that? Because that seems to be like that would kind of stop the whole parade.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's definitely one of our most complicating factors. I think in the beginning of the year, we definitely had a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of students able to kind of attend. We had pullout days, and last year we had full pullout days. This year we did it with 2 to 3 hour blocks, because what we noticed was when we had the full pullout days, the first couple, we had all the kids, and then as the year progressed, and definitely as it got closer to finals and closer to other, complicating times, the attrition rate just kind of increased. So this year we went to just half-day pullouts, which was pretty successful. We've also utilized our flex time periods. So we have that, twice a week, that flexible kind of study session period. So with my group, we've met with our trainer officially 4 times on these couple hour pullouts. And then I've also pulled them for flex time, usually about once a month or once every other week when available. So, but that's definitely a piece. And that's what I really like about the idea for next year of having this asynchronous time that allows the students to meet on that, when it makes sense for them.
I would just add one of the other issues is that the students are doing this without any real incentive besides
Yes.
their interest in the project. And so that's why we're looking to partner with a community college to get them
Mhm.
dual enrollment credit that are basically like, it's like an internship volunteer class.
Mhm.
And so that would allow us to set it up so that maybe they meet
Mhm.
and they're getting credit for it as well, because we talked a lot about student labor in this area and we want to make
Yeah.
sure that we are giving them something for what they're doing. So that's part of what
Yeah.
we're, hopefully I'll have a plan for next year that we'll pilot.
Their time is valuable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're doing amazing work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Jennifer?
Yeah, I'll just say thank you as well. And I really like that the students at the different sites are coming up with their own ways to address it, and that they're very creative and they're very different approaches. I really like that. And to what you said, Alex, about that the kids are developing skills in other areas, that I really like that as well. Yeah, and I'm just happy to hear that this is a response to the grand jury report, and that this action is being carried through, in subsequent years, and that the need for it hasn't been forgotten or, lessened. We're still having these kinds of incidents, and it's still very much appropriate to address it. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to say a couple things. First, agree with everyone. Amazing. I'm really impressed and happy to see these equity teams together and really empowering our students, BIPOC, all, and I think it's really important. So I'm grateful for that. And I really think empowering them and giving them time and giving them what Trustee Andrade Zuniga was talking about, it's their valuable time, and trying to find incentive. I think that's great. I love the what you talked about with Mills, and so it's out there, and I really think that's important if we put it out there. My biggest concern when you think about addressing hate speech and addressing the problems that we've dealt with in the jury report, and what Trustee Jacobson was talking about, a lot of times it's not those the kids that are joining aren't the ones that are the concern.
Mhm.
And I loved what Trustee Andrade Zuniga said, where it's like, how do we be upstanders? I mean, sorry, that's my word for middle school. So how can we be upstanders, and what can we do? What can we act out? How can we, defend what's going on in our world, and how can we speak up? And I think giving examples through PD is wonderful. But I'm trying to figure out, how do we get to those who are causing the problems and are the hate, and how do we reach them too? And it worries me that is still a problem that we're having in our community. And I just trying to figure out, how do we get that outreach to them too, and just to get them included somehow. And I don't have the answer. I don't think it's that easy, but that's where I think we need to go too, because I don't want to stop any of this. I want to keep this going and building it, and you're doing everything you're supposed to and keep going. But we still have people doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and we're seeing things we shouldn't. And so how do we reach them?
Yeah.
It's a question, not an answer.
President Land, we have a comment online.
Okay, well, let's go to the comment.
Jennifer Blanco.
Jennifer, are you there?
Hola. No.
Hola. ¿Dónde está?
She's coming.
Jennifer, don't forget to unmute.
Everyone, I'm so sorry. Good evening.
Yay.
Yes,
raised my
we
hand
got
by
you.
accident.
We got you.
Sorry.
It's a bad connection, so just be aware.
Oh, no. How can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Right there.
Okay. What I said was, I do apologize. I raised my hand by accident.
Oh no.
Hello, everyone.
You're
Hi.
cutting in and out. Could someone pause the time?
Yeah, we're not gonna.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, she did?
Oh.
Whoops. Okay, Jennifer, but we'd always like to hear you on the subject. So anytime.
I know you have something to say about it.
I know. Okay. All right. If she wants to come back, we can totally have her come back and we can talk. So is she still on, or? Because we don't see her on the screen. So. Okay.
I moved her back to panelists if she
Okay,
wants to read.
that's fine. If she wants to raise her hand again and talk, we'd be more than happy to hear her.
Trustee Lan, to respond to what you were saying, in that article that I was mentioning, there's a really good suggestion from Aragon on how to address that when something happens, about a dialogue, making things more like bringing the humanity out of it.
Yeah.
And that might help to show the student that's using that type of language or has those type of ideas of maybe that it's just inaccurate what they're thinking or what they know, because a lot of this stuff is learned. It's not, you're not born being hateful. And so it depends on how they've been raised and what they've been taught and what they've been exposed to. So maybe, yeah, I really hope that we can get some insight on how they address it there too.
I have one more comment about it. It seems to me, at least from the short time that I've been on the board, the incidents that I have been made aware of tend to be anti-Semitic. And I think one of the parents that spoke at one of our study sessions or a board meeting maybe suggested having the Anti-Defamation League come give a presentation. So that's just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm actually in my own district. We've used the Anti-Defamation League to do equity work, and they have some really great programs that do equity work and just what we've been talking about. So, yes. Anyone else? Well, I just want to say, Dr. Kempke, thank you so much for bringing everybody, the students, the teachers. Alex, thank you so much for presenting. Let's just keep up the good work and let's keep expanding that. Okay. All right. We are going to move on. We are now in our book study. So we, the test, I have a quiz for you. I'm going to pass it out. Everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
We're going to do a Quizlet. No, Padlet. Okay. Oh, okay.
I read for these footnotes.
I'm trying.
Thank you.
I don't think we're working. There we go. I'm just going to call it next slide and you can do it for me. Okay, so thank you, President Land. So this is our second session on our governance team book study. This is called The Governance Core that we're reading together. It's written by Davis Campbell and Michael Fullen. It's an easy read. It's an opportunity for us to come together as a professional governance team, grow together, have some professional learning, learn a little bit about one another through these conversations, and how to come together as a team with a governance mindset, a shared moral imperative, this idea of a unified, cohesive governance system, our commitment to system-wide coherence, and this focus on continuous improvement across the district. So next slide, please. So chapter 3 is not to be so on the nose, but it's a little about me. This is about the superintendent governance mindset.
I took lots of notes on
Yeah, I'm
this
sure
one.
you did. It's good. That's right. Now I'm going to see what kind of governance style you think I employ with you all.
Yeah, we have a personal evaluation.
Yeah, this is part of like, this is like public evaluation right here. So it talks about superintendents being the key supporters, as well as partners with boards in their governance work. I take that really, really seriously. And it goes on to talk about there are 3 kinds of typical governance styles in their research and in their work with a variety of school districts, not only up and down the state of California, but across the nation. Next slide, please. There's one called hands off, where the superintendent has this mindset of, well, the board's not my responsibility. It's my job to run the district, not worry about the board. The board appoints the superintendents and then stays out of the way. Like that's this hands-off mentality. I've never seen that work. For the public to understand, a big part of my job is working with, collaborating with the board, understanding their needs, their styles, their vision, their mindset, and then for me to help them understand mine, and then us to come together with cohesion. So anyways, one concept is hands off. Another one is like this preemptive damage control. Keep them in the dark, like let's make sure they only know certain things, protect the staff from the board, this idea of us versus them, and keep the board out of the work of the district. Their work is right here during our kind of pomp and circumstance of a board meeting, but the real work is, in the trenches with teachers and educators and families, and the board doesn't belong there. It's that idea of preemptive damage control. Next slide, please. And it writes here, it's not coincidental that superintendents who have long productive tenures approach governance in a thoughtful, analytical, and purposeful manner. And so in order to do that, to approach governance in that way, we need to do it together. We need to be thought partners. We need to analyze together, and we need to have cohesion in our purpose moving forward. Next slide, please. So really, effective governance teams has a superintendent that has a purposeful approach. And these quotes that I list here are all pulled from the book. This is where governance is something to support as a critical part of the education system. It's not just about math and science and reading and equity and all the things we've talked about, right? There's also this concept of governance. It's not something to be ignored. It's not something to be kind of put in the corner. It's actually something that has to be at the forefront. That our work together is relational capital. We need to build relational capital because we will draw from it when times get really rough. When times get rough, we have to kind of dip into that well of relational capital and draw upon it to use with one another. Another way to call it is relational equity, and we dip into that relational equity. We need to rely on the relationships. Something I've talked to staff quite a bit about is when times are good, those are times to really build that relational equity, really spend time on it, because when times are rough, you don't have time to do that, and you have to actually draw upon it. I need to listen to the concerns of each board member to better understand their perspective. And the key word in that phrase is each, that I don't listen to one board member over another. And especially when a board member's views don't necessarily align with mine. Just because they don't align with mine doesn't mean that they're not heard, they're not listened to, and there's not something I can learn. And then it's really important that I understand specific board dynamics. And there are board dynamics, not just in this board, but every board I've been a part of. There are board dynamics. And it writes here, governance is both a necessity and an asset to district-wide coherence. It's not an annoyance, right? Another way to say it, some superintendents look at the board as an annoyance. It's not. Governance is a necessity and an asset. And I have to allocate significant time and detailed attention to board affairs. Now, I need to allocate that, and I also need to understand where board members have time to partner and where they don't have time, as much time, and to be okay with that. So for instance, President Land, 100 Days of May, or when you're off at Washington, D.C., okay, I'm working with Vice President Andres Zuniga. Trustee Griffin is in the middle of tax season. Okay, I have to recognize he needs some space to do that. And this goes back to my learning around when we can have board study sessions and when we can't. We joked about it just in the beginning of this meeting of, hey, maybe the month of April is not a great time to do board study sessions. All good. So we'll spread them out a little differently next time around. Next slide, please. So a couple of other things under this purposeful approach. My job is to watch your back, is to make sure that I am understanding what's happening out in the community. And I mean community in its broadest sense. When I hear things or see things bubbling up, how do I get you that information in a timely manner? Confront the ugly. Never try to fake my way through a problem, right? If it's going to be ugly, I call it crunchy sometimes when I'm working with staff.
Crunchy. I like
we're gonna talk about some crunchy stuff, right? And that's okay. Captain Crunch is crunchy, and yet it's still really yummy. But we're going to confront the ugly and deal with it head on. I need to be conscious of your perspectives and the pressures you have all felt as elected officials. You have constituents that you have to answer. I had an offline conversation with President Land the other day, and I was whining a little bit, and his response is, hey, that's politics. And that was a really good response. It was a really good response. It basically reminded me that while I have pressures, he has pressures.
Right.
And I have to be conscious of that. I need to be open and authentic in my communication, offer trust and respect, no surprises. And I have to say that one has been a little hard for me this year because I don't know the district. I'm what am I, 10 months in, getting to know the district. So really trying to anticipate where those surprises are. Oftentimes I'm surprised, let alone trying to head it off for trustees. And then being honest and straightforward and purposeful. And I hope that last one is something you have felt from me.
Definitely.
And that's one that I try to pride myself on. You're going to say things to me, I'm going to agree or disagree, and I'm going to share back. And I hold one that's not on here, but I do hold confidence. That's a big one. Next slide, please. Governance is chess, not checkers. Yes. Everyone must be thinking 3 moves ahead, looking beyond what is most immediately before them. I've talked to this about my teams across the district. 80% of our brain is in the here and now. 20% has to be reserved for what's coming down the pipeline. If we don't slice off 20% of our brain for that, we'll never be ahead of the game. We're always going to be behind, always playing catch up.
But I really appreciate that. It's
Thanks.
like the strategic thinking, because we have to think about how we're going to move forward and what the choices we're making, how that's going to be good or bad in the future.
Right. I try to illustrate this mostly, and it's not to call out technology as if it's the only thing, but really in how we support educational or instructional technology. If we're not thinking 3 years down the line, literally 3 to 5 years down the line, technology moves so quickly that when we think, oh, that's a good idea, by the time we think it's a good idea, research it, pilot it, buy it, it's outdated. So we have to really think ahead. And I always use that illustration of technology to prove the point that we really have to be thinking 3 steps ahead. Next slide. What do successful superintendents have in common? Again, they're purposeful, analytical, consistent, coherent. They have an internal moral compass. There's a clear picture of where they're going, and focus. Consistency. Again, you may not like some of my decisions, but at least you know where they're coming from, and I'm consistent in my approach. You don't want a superintendent that is shifting in beliefs and kind of wherever the wind blows, that's where he or she goes, and that is not healthy for governance. Next slide. But I think for me, most importantly, and this is the one that I really try to hold on to, and it's because it was my initial profession, right? A teacher and a facilitator. Think about closed session today when I was talking about kind of my style and some of the things that I do. I love being in front of the whiteboard. That's kind of my gig. And to be a motivator and have energy and provide deep learning opportunities, that's a big deal to me. And then inversely, where trustees are heard, right? So I can teach and facilitate, but then I need to pause and really listen and afford you the opportunity to feel heard. Next slide. All right, chapter 4, welcoming new trustees. And I like this chapter in the sense of the new trustees, but I think everything in this particular chapter can be applied to all trustees. It is really not about new trustees. And this is an opportunity, and you've heard me talk about this before, how much of a believer I am in that reset button. So new trustees can begin afresh. But veteran trustees, when we have new board members come in, they can also start begin afread.
What's a completely different board?
Well, it's norming. It's all about norms.
That's
It's
right.
Renorming. We're renorming.
Right.
We all have to figure out a new role.
Right.
our
And
new
that,
roles.
to your point, introduction to the board's governance culture. What is that culture? Orient regarding the governance mindset, reinforce the focus of the existing members, all of those kinds of things. And where especially new members feel that they are a valued member of the team. They're not the newbie. They're not, shh, you're new. No, you're a valued member of the team, and let's participate as such. Next slide. A cohesive, unified team working together to create a common vision driven by a shared moral imperative. This is a quote I took actually from chapter 1 that talks about what is a professional governance team. It's this. And I think if we all adopt this, we're gonna do some really incredible things for our students and our community. Next slide. It also talks about a unified board is not a lockstep uniform board. We have divergent opinions, and points of view are welcomed and encouraged. And I didn't get too deep into it at our last time, and I won't this time either, but Trustee Jacobson and I were talking about this the other day, and that is how we look at our agendas and how we develop our agendas. And we don't always, while we have topics we're going to deal with, I don't see you as lockstep. I don't necessarily see you as uniform. There is a divergence of opinions on this board, but we work really hard. And I think you have all worked really hard in encouraging them to be welcomed, right? Share your point of view. Let's listen to one another. Let's respect one another. I have seen that throughout. Next slide. First 100 days. But I think this can be beyond the first 100 days, and this can be for experienced board members as well. Suspend all preconceived notions. Get up to speed, be mindful of confidentiality, accept the realities of governance, that it's hard. Like, just put it right there. It is hard work. So for those of you, out in the audience or watching from home, the work of these 5 volunteers is really, really hard. It's not easy. They do, later on, it's going to talk about do their homework. How you do your homework. And one of the reasons why our board meetings kind of go like clockwork, why we are allowed to have so much on the consent calendar, is because there is trust and faith, and I see it tangibly, that you all do your homework. You don't show up to board meetings and wait, what's happening, or reading it 2 seconds beforehand, or you take your roles really with a lot of responsibility, and understanding that time is your best friend. Especially this goes for new board members, right? Take the time to really dig in and dive in, and be okay with the fact that the first year is learning. It's really all learning, and that's okay. Next slide. The realities of governance. You're elected as an individual, but you govern as a member of a team. You don't have an authority as an individual. Really, you have none. To fix problems. A lot of staff will think that. They'll come to you individually. Trustee Jacobson, can you fix this? And your answer is no, not by myself, but I can take your problem to the superintendent or to the rest of the board, and we can talk about it as a governance team. And success as a trustee is dependent on the success of your board, that we are all in it together. Next slide. Okay, this is, I think, one of the last slides here. 10 important things to remember. And again, I think this applies to all of us, and not just board members, but district staff as well. Be patient. Again, this job is really hard, and we all process and learn things and absorb things and understand things at different paces. Govern professionally. It will determine your legacy. I have talked to some of you about this, that what it means to have some legacy. I envision you all being here a very, very long time. People will not remember your votes necessarily. 10 years from now, they will not remember your votes. They will remember your values. And that's what will also, your professionalism, how you express your values, how you communicate your values, that will determine your legacy. Be a systems thinker, connect the dots. Everything we do has ripple effects. So, as much as we can, connecting those dots, having a strategic focus, that is your main job, setting the direction of the district. Commit to deep learning. We talked about doing your homework. Can't be a part of something you don't understand. And this is why I've asked a lot of my district staff to work initially and early on with Trustee Chavez, Trustee Jacobson, to get them up to speed and help them understand as best as possible. Be trustworthy. This is something you build over time with the track record. You can't just tell people to trust you. You have to show them and demonstrate that through your actions. Contribute to a positive board culture, assuming best intent. Represent the needs of all your community, not just a part, even if you feel most connected with that part or you're most familiar with that part, recognizing that you're representing the needs of all. Be a leader on your board, in the district, in the community, however that feels right to you. And you and your board are modeling the ethical and moral standards you expect students to emulate. We are watched. That's another way to think of it. People watch us, and they watch, earlier in the chapter, they talked about even our mannerisms. They watch that. And so we are here to model. Next slide. Okay, so that was just a quick, overview of the two chapters. May 18th, we'll be doing chapters 5 and 6, June 8th, 7th, and 8th, chapter 7, 8, and June 22nd, chapter 9 to wrap up. So thank you for reading.
Anyone want to start? It's just an open discussion. So I don't want, again, during this time, I am not going to call on you. Just talk and let's discuss this. It's a book study. So I'm looking at, like, we have a glass of wine in front of us and we're just hanging out.
One thing that came to me, and it's sort of directly and not sort of directly related to this, because we used to put time frames and sort of targets on our agenda. And when we have an agenda item like this, it can go on quite a long time. And not that I don't want to sit here all night with everybody, but I'm going to, when we get to the end, I am going to say, let's bring back suggested times, which provides guidance. Both, it gives us expectations and it provides guidance to the administration on terms of this is what people should work towards. But anyway, having said that, I guess I got the floor. And I can say,
well, no, I was going to interrupt and say something, but no.
No, I've just a couple of comments, and I thought about it because I got all this stuff thinking about the 7 superintendents that I've seen here, and I think 6 of them were really great, and they did not throw you under the bus. They cared about the relationships with the trustees. They were very inclusive. They were very wise. And and I really enjoyed working with them, and you're on the good list.
Thank God.
You're on the good list.
Waiting to be that.
And you're going to be number 7. No,
but no, that the thing that occurred to me, the role of a superintendent, just like the role of trustees, has changed over that long period of time, because change in education used to be very, very, very slow. And your example about it, technology.
Yep.
It would take forever to make a decision on technology, and things would just not happen. And, superintendents have had to adapt to that, just like the trustees have. And the other thing, and the book, I don't think really talked about it, and there were several good points there. Superintendent shelf lives, because of the pressure and the challenges that you face, they're not very long. So it's difficult to say you're going to be, there a long time, because, you just get consumed putting all your life into the governance of the district.
Right.
But I did enjoy that. And I enjoyed those lists, which I think still apply to even very experienced people.
Yeah.
And I should do more welcoming, and anybody who's new to the board, I'm not a touchy-feely guy.
No.
So this is as touchy-feely as I get. So I did call, like, welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I see you on Facebook all the time. I can't. Yeah. Anyway, those are my comments.
Well, I just want to say that Trustee Griffin had a couple of my I think was it our meeting last week? Because we've been meeting every Thursday. Was it last week's meeting you were next to me and you ate the gummy bears? So I felt like that was,
Aw.
we're getting a little closer and closer with
There
the
you go.
snacks.
Oh,
I thought he bonded with you at CSBA.
He did,
All those
he did.
Pictures you guys did
I
together.
know.
It's like,
I
wow. I
know.
thought you
With
guys
the
best
wine.
buddies.
We did. We had wine.
I was a little
Broke
jealous.
bread together.
oh, that's
Um,
great.
I just want to say something that Bob said. I think, and in immediately integrating it into what we do for agenda setting, I think we should set times. You do a very good job of sending an informal
He does.
email that says, this is what I'm thinking,
Right.
which is
right.
great. But I think we should do that at the front end and do it during our agenda settings. Like, think how long this is going to be.
Mm.
We had to do, I think you are much more conscientious about time than our
Mhm.
predecessors, than a few of your predecessors. And I think some of us actually, as board members, insisted that we do that in agenda setting
Mhm.
because, no offense to my favorite person, Kevin, but he would tend to like, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we'd be there till like 11 o'clock. And it was like, dude, this is not going to work for us. And I think what, Bob says is like, yeah, if you put, if we did that in agenda setting, then, and we put it in the agenda, then people will know, hey, this is going to be about 20 minutes. This is going to be about 10. This is going to be about 5.
We can do that.
I think this is a great idea. I was going to say something that just in general about when I read the end, the conclusion of the second chapter about the new trustees. And I was just thinking in general, it's always about, sometimes it's about the timing. Sometimes there's a superintendent for the right time. And, sometimes that time comes and goes. Because I think it talked about longevity, how long a superintendent is. And I thought to myself, well, sometimes it's just because the time has changed. And it goes to what you were kind of talking about with technology and how things have changed from way back then.
Mhm.
Things are so evolving in education that sometimes your shelf life changes because you're not the right person anymore for the job. You come in and it's like, you're the innovator and changer, or you're the squasher and, stop this and, repair something and that time comes and then you did it. And it's like, now what? And it's like, if a superintendent can't evolve and change, then it's their time, their time's up. And so, and the same with the board, it's like some pressures come to us and it's like, well, our time has changed. You're not listening to us, and that's how come boards upturn and change. So I think being respectful and understanding of change is going to be important, which is why I like the chapter the way you structured the chapter, which is even older board members need to adapt and change. And yeah, I know. I wasn't looking at you. I was thinking of me. Season. I was thinking about me just as much as him. I think I fall in a similar category. But and you've gotten more. How many superintendents?
7.
I've only got like
Jeez
6,
Louise.
so I'm a little behind. You got a lot, but for different reasons. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry, but I mean, we've had experience with lots of different superintendents, and I think it's important that, and I love that going back to that chapter, that the purposeful approach is critical, and it is that very balanced way of having to handle things. Because I've been on the other end of a gatekeeper, and I hate a gatekeeper. I hate feeling managed.
Yeah.
No offense, but I'm telling you what I'm feeling, because other superintendents I've worked with want to manage the board. Let me tell you how I want you to be, and and I'll talk to you, and then I talk to you, and they manage that way, and it's like it's a gatekeeper, and I really I remember that, and I hate that, and I just used to blow up about it. But anyway, don't want to keep going, but thinking about being a thought partner is important, and that's something that I think is critical, where we're thought partners, where you're giving me information, I'm giving you information, and you're doing that with everybody. And that's important because then we're evolving. And I think that's important for all of us. So I'm sorry, but I'm talking too much.
I'm not talking too much, President Land. I do want to say you stole my thunder about the number of superintendents, because I actually started to write them down. Look, you're not looking. Trustee Land. He didn't look. Anyway, Trustee Land, I'm showing you my list, but that's okay.
Got it.
I started writing down. Okay, so not to harbor on your point that you mentioned earlier, but I have gone through a lot of superintendents. So since I was elected in 2018, okay, 2 of them were interim superintendents, but there were 5 superintendents in 4 years. Okay, so Superintendent Booker is my 6th superintendent. And to your point, everyone has a different style. And being a new trustee a few years ago, I thought everyone's the same, right? I don't know what preconceived ideas. Every person has a different leadership style. And like Griffin said, you're on the good list. You're on my good list. So you got 2 of those today. I love your style. And I wanted to say that
I'm counting votes. I just need one more.
You just need one more. You're killing me. So I wanted to say a couple of things that really stood out. Is a unified board is not lockstep. We're not the same mind. We're not the same thought process. And I think that this board, I really, really value the different perspectives on this board and the fact that we are, what's the word? Patient with one another. We are not cordial. We're professional and we're very respectful. So we have differences of opinions, but we're working together to govern the board and to govern the district. But that we appreciate our different values and our different perspectives. And I think that all of us here really think that that's really important. And it doesn't mean that we have the same exact thoughts or that we have the same exact opinion about every agenda item. And I think that I really appreciate the professionalism on this board. The other thing I wanted to mention was this is so important. Hold on a second. That we represent the needs of our community, the entire community. Sometimes folks will come up to me in the community. I know you guys might laugh at this, but I always have these with me and I don't know how people walk. Anyway, I like to talk a lot. So that's no surprise that I talk to people. So I always have these business cards.
I thought you were getting the playing cards out too.
I did work today for about 30 people. So they like to, I was at a meeting with like 3.
Jennifer, we were on the same page.
I have those if you want to see them.
No.
I do have it in my backpack.
We trust you. We trust you.
So I always carry the business cards with me. And so sometimes a couple times in the past 2 weeks, what high schools do you represent? Well, it's all of them on this card. It's not the one near my house. It's not the 2 closest high schools near my house. It's all of the high schools on this business card. I represent all of them. And I know that I drop by Cappuccino at least 3 times, if not 4 or 5 times a week, because my daughter attends there. I either drop her off or pick her up. So it just that I'm there more often than the other schools. And I want to get to know every school site. It's impossible to get to know every teacher, but I would like, that's one of my, that would be a dream of mine to know every teacher at every school site. So I don't know if I can ever have that quiz, but not in year 1 on the school board, or maybe in year 2 or 3. But I know that I did attend some of the athletic events. I also want to attend some of the art and drama events with you. I want to do that. And I just wanted to say that it's so important that all 5 of us represent all schools listed on our card, not just the one. And I think that we all have that mindset because some folks think that your election boundary, because we went to district elections, just like many of the school districts in the state, just like many of the city council. I mean, we have the election boundaries for a reason, but that doesn't mean that that's only the area that we represent. We represent our entire area. And I'm very proud that I think all of us have that same mindset.
Yeah.
That was a huge discussion when we went to trustees is what did that look like?
Yeah.
We wanted each area to have at least 2 high schools in it.
And it doesn't because the election area is so the rules are so stringent that each of the 5 election areas have to have within 5% of the number of residents, not voters, not students, not number of high schools, but the number of residents living in there. So I don't even know if I think my area doesn't have any high school in it, actually, because it goes around and on the northern part of Cappuccino.
Well, what I meant was the district boundary, the high school boundary. So you have kids, you have residents that are going to Mills and Cappuccino.
You're right.
And that's what we're trying to say.
But school boards are just so unique where councils do have to adhere to their certain areas because they have people that live in specific places that they do say, this is my constituency. But with the school district, I feel like it's different because we're also talking about young people and about students, and about their families. And so it's a little bit different. And I just wanted to say, I went to Design Tech today and it made me think about when we were talking about change, the way that they're addressing like quote unquote traditional school. We talked about something that somebody said was, we don't have to do school any particular way. And I had to really think about it because I thought, well, what's what I'm used to is like traditional school, you know, and so what does that mean? So it really made me think about that. And then I thought about the board and about how when I first started on the board, I really got used to the people that were there. Trustee Hanley, Trustee Dwyer, Trustee Griffin, Trustee Land. And then when it changed, it's like I also had to think about, like, I almost went through a change in myself. Like, okay, what does this mean even as a trustee? What things do I have to learn? And being that there are new people that I didn't know before, it's like, so what, you know, what in this situation what is this teaching me, right? Like what do I have to learn out of this? And so I think constant self-evaluation as trustees really helps us to be better trustees. And to think about, like, I always go back to the last few chapters was, you know, the decisions that we make have a ripple effect. They have a consequence, depending whether good or bad. And so when you mentioned that people will remember our values, you know, they'll remember maybe not exactly how everybody voted, but like what their perception was of that topic. That is how people will feel. And it's like that quote, right? People might not remember, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher it, but ultimately people remember how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And so that really resonates with me with this board and with what we're deciding and what we're doing. And so it made me really think about that. I don't know, I'm really enjoying this book. Oh, one last thing. So when I first started on the board, one of my criticisms was our onboarding process. I think some of the onboarding was really good, but I felt like it had to be a little bit more personable, because it's like you're coming into a new family, or you're coming into a new, like, established place. And so being the new kid on the block is intimidating. It is a little isolating at first when you're trying to get it to know everybody. But once you do, I mean, it's obviously a different feeling. But in getting people onboarded, not only with the knowledge that they need, but just with each and every different personality, because that's what we're also dealing with. So I just really appreciate this book so much. I really wish I would have read it the first year, but it's really good. Thank you.
You know, I want to share something, because that onboarding stuff, I really appreciate what Superintendent Booker is doing with our two new board members, because here's the interesting part. Both Leahy and I were like alone when we got onboarded. Yeah. And what's even worse is, you know, I was the 4 others on the board besides me had been here for how many years?
For a long
10,
time.
15.
Yeah.
And then there's me. And then I didn't, you know, and I had been on a previous board like Terry, but I was thrown into the deep end. And that's how I learned. Nobody gave me training. No, because I'm in education, everybody thinks I know everything. Right. So I got no introductions to anything. I had no special meetings. I had no put stuff on the side. I was like put in. In fact, the funniest thing I remember is Linda's like, "Can I get a ride home?" And I'm like, this is my first meeting. I'm like, "Okay, sure." And she's walking with me, and we're like, "Wow, you really did good. You look like you've been here for the whole time." And I'm like, "Yeah, but nobody taught me anything here. Wait a minute." You know, it was like my first meeting and I just went right into it. But I think that's so important that you've given like opportunities for training and getting to know the deep knowledge and learning and, you know, but then I love the fact that what you talked about in the chapter is it's not just about the new people, it's about all of us. And it is about norming. I mean, to be very candid, norming is a very difficult thing for me, at least, because what you're doing is you're changing the whole circumstances of the friendships and the interactions. And I'm a very relationship guy. So when you get rid of Peter, who I had to take years getting to know Peter. I mean, really, Peter is not an easy guy to figure out. And he's, but over time, I learned how to respect and really honor what he was interested in and who he was. Same with Linda. Linda and I would agree. We'd be fiercely arguing, and then it'd be like, okay, we're done. Can I get a ride? Yeah, sure. Okay. But you're going to vote that way again? Yeah, of course. Okay, well, fine, whatever. And we go. I'll still give you a ride. No, literally, that's the way we'd argue all the time. I think, I think that's going to be important for us to grow because we're still new and we're going to disagree. We've already done it. We've already seen what it looks like, and we're going to disagree some more.
I feel like
and
you're looking at me.
Huh?
I feel like you're looking at me. When
I'm actually, what I'm doing is I'm doing this. I'm doing this.
Yes.
So,
Point to Superintendent Booker's point, it's going to get crunchy.
It's
And
gonna get crunchy.
And we'll come back and say, hey, I need a ride, President.
Right.
Can you give me a ride? Okay, sure.
it's not personal.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm going to disagree on issues that I think is important. And as I said to Superintendent Booker, sometimes I'm going to disagree and it's politics. And you just have to understand that it's not personal. It's just, I see it this way and I'm going to make the argument this. And it's not personal. It's just, this is what I think is right. And I'm going to fight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could just say something, all of us, I know it sounds cliche as well. We all bring something different to the table. It sounds like we're both numbers people. So sometimes we look at each other when we're during the budget study session. But I think that, I think we really do all bring something to the table, all of us through our experiences. And I know I keep saying this, I haven't said it in a while, so it's like my car trick, I'll just bring it up again. I grew up with a hard financial, I grew up financially disadvantaged. And so my lunch at my elementary school and at my high school, because we didn't have a middle school, that was my best meal of the day. And when I started to go to high school and I found out that we had breakfast, I was actually excited to get up a little bit earlier, and although it was 6 miles from my house to the high school, so of course I took the school bus, but I was excited when we got there early enough so that I could go get a nice hot breakfast, and that really made my day. So there's reasons why I'm very passionate about making sure we have good nutritious food and hot lunches available to all the students at all the school sites, because that's what I worry about, that because I went through that growing up hungry, and I don't want to get all emotional here, but we all bring something to the table from our own life experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. And I really appreciate historical knowledge. I'm really glad that that Trustee Griffin is here and Trustee Land, because there are things that I don't know. I've been here for 2 years, but there's things that I don't know that's happened on this board. Like earlier today, we were talking about negotiations, and we were talking about, I had a question about predecessors, and unfortunately, I mean, we couldn't really answer that because y'all weren't there, and that's what I appreciate though, is that there's like a balance of information, because we do still need, like, there is a value of that too. It's not like change is really good, but there are some things that we need to know that have been from the past.
Yeah.
And so, I appreciate that.
And I do want to say that I appreciate the onboarding, and staff has been tremendous. I mean, I know Trustee Jacobson would agree. I mean, we've met every time we've met with the whole finance team, an hour before our budget study session. We met with the special ed department. We met with Dr. Kemke. We met with almost every group, and I just feel like staff has really gone out of their way to make sure that we're caught up. Or up to
That was
speed.
also really helpful for me when I started. Was Dr. Skelly really made sure that I met everybody, and he gave me freedom to talk to people, and he wasn't like, oh no, that's really important to have those relationships, and even with Superintendent Booker, I mean, we're like, I'll CC you. Okay. I want to know this. I have this question, and it's no big deal, and so hopefully that can continue, because it's important to be able to have those independent relationships.
And to go on the tours, we toured the bridge program together. I had no idea, and it was just great, amazing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I really respect about just when I first came onto this board and my last board is it may not be, and I think we're unified in the way that it's described in the book, at least our iterations before the last few, because we always called ourselves a high functioning board. Everybody would come in and say, wow, you're a really high functioning board. And the reason is we disagree, like all together, argue, vote, move on. And the next one, we're all agreeing, because it's by issue and what we really believe. And we all have strong values and strong beliefs, and we should stick by them.
Mhm.
But again, we're going to try to persuade. I'm going to try to persuade you,
Right.
and you're going to try to
That's-
persuade me,
yeah.
and we're going to try to convince each other of something. And sometimes it's going to work, and sometimes it's not. And I think that's what a high functioning board is. As long as we know what it's for, it's for kids.
yeah.
You know, we're doing
Right.
this for kids.
And it helps to hear another person's perspective and opinion of why
Yeah.
they feel
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. So
Yeah, and thinking about what we were saying with like what the culture is of the board. I mean, there's so many boards that I sit on that I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish that this was like this and like this. Like kind of comparing and contrasting boards.
Yeah.
But each place is gonna be different. And because we are in education, it's like what Superintendent Brooker was saying, that people are watching,
Yep.
and that's important. Okay.
Any last thoughts? Because I'm gonna close this out just looking at time. Yeah, cool. All right, we did good. Well, anybody? Come on, Randall, you have any last thoughts? No. Okay. So moving on. That was a cool discussion. So I thought that was really cool. Okay. Moving on. Construction. I'm going to hand this over to Superintendent Hawkins and Assistant Superintendent Hawkins. That's what it says here. So I just read it.
Yeah, I'm on the bad list for Trustee Griffin, so I got demoted there. All right, so the construction management group that's been working in the district for the last 15 plus years is Greystone West, led by lead partner Todd Lee. He's gone through the cleanup of Measure D, the very successful Measure M, O, and L. And periodically we bring an update to their contract to add the additional projects that have been, the schematic designs have been approved by the board. So we're doing that now. Just to remind the board, the fee schedule is actually not negotiated on a per project basis. It's using a state approved OPSC fee schedule. So with that, I'm happy to open it up to questions.
Any questions? Motion?
I actually have a question and I will move adoption. Is there a best practice on duration generally, or, I mean, I'm happy with Greystone and the service they've provided. I'm just curious if there is guidance from the state or anybody else on retention of construction professionals.
Yeah, there is. I believe that the board went out, or the district went out prior to the 2020 election and looked at construction management firms again. I think best practice is to do it at least, if you have large bond programs, between that minus that every 5 years, I think is a good note. Or if you're having any issues, I think it's obviously important to do that. But even notwithstanding that, I think every 5 years, or as you start a new bond program.
Thank you.
All right. So motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
So motion made by Trustee Griffin, seconded by Trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. With the absence of Trustee Jacobson, is 4-0. Okay, going on to your next one. Approval.
This is approval of change order number 1 for the Burlingame High School HVAC project. As you know, the Burlingame High School Building A has a long and storied history. Not all that history is documented in construction documents and as-builts. So this change order mainly has to do with the unforeseen conditions that were found when we went into the ceilings and the walls and the outer areas of that. So this is the final and only change order from the project, and is within the change order contingency. So happy to answer any questions.
Sounds like zombie house flip or
Yeah, really.
home shows. Sorry.
If there's
Look what we found. Yeah, got it.
I'll move adoption.
Okay, motion,
I'll second.
second. So motion made by trustee Griffin, seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, vote 4-0 with the absence of trustee Jacobson.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just a quick correction. I think it was seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga.
Yes.
That's
so-
correct.
Yeah, it was. Sorry. Did I say Chavez?
You did.
Oh, Andrade.
You just
Zuniga.
like to,
No,
you
I
just
didn't
used
even
to.
know. I didn't. know.
No, it was you. You're right. Sorry about that, Char.
Yeah.
You got it right and I got it wrong. Good. That's fine. As long as you got it right, we're good. Okay, next is human resources personnel consent agenda.
So in front of us, we've got the personnel consent agenda. Sorry, I need to just. flip
It's
over.
personnel actions, adults
Adults.
transfer.
There's 4 items for
Yep.
approval. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone?
If no discussion, oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I know there's different iterations. I just want to make sure that there wasn't anything on here from Peninsula High School as the.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
Yeah, if there,
There was some amendments.
sure.
Or addendums. Yeah. I don't know.
If no discussion further, I will move to adopt.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by trustee Andrade Zuniga, seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, vote 5-0. All right, next we're going to Division of Human Resources Personnel Actions Addendum. Yes.
All right.
Is there, yeah, so with the addendum, we're not. What was your question on the addendum? What was it? Sorry.
It's the same question as before, because I kind of got those two mixed up. I just want to make sure that I know that there was some corrections. I just want to make sure that there was nothing on there from Peninsula High School.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to,
I'm glad you did that.
thanks.
Motion by trustee Chavez, seconded by
Second.
trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing any no's? No. 5-0. Motion carried for addendum. Next is San Mateo Union High School District successor contract proposal.
So I'll take that. The next 3 items are related to our negotiations with the teachers union at the adult school. We have both proposals and a public hearing. So this kicks off the process for negotiations for the 2023-2024 year, similar to what we did recently for the 9 through 12 DTA.
Okay.
So happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Motion?
I'll make a motion.
No, it says it's.
Is it?
Information.
It's
Yeah,
information.
sorry,
only?
it's information. I should have said.
Okay, that one's information.
Yep.
The next one's information.
Correct.
Then we go to public. Okay, so can I do or do you need to do the second one now? It's
So
open the
it's-
public
it's-
hearing.
it's, that's the third. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So we can move.
All
on.
right, I'm going to close the board meeting. I'm going to open for a public hearing. Now we're having the public hearing on the San Mateo Union High School District successor contract for 2023-24 and the adult school American Federation Teachers successor contract for 23-24. Any discussion? There's
no public comment.
No public comment. Any in the audience? Hearing none. Board? No. Okay, close the public meeting, public hearing. Open up the board meeting, and now we're back into that. So now we are done, did the public hearing, and now we're approval of the next one. So I'll let you.
So this continues on the same vein, but it's in our negotiations with our teachers union from the adult school. So this is the approval of our contract proposal and sunshining with the American Federation of Teachers.
Okay.
So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. There are any questions? Motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion to approve, and then there's a motion by trustee Jacobson, seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Next is a resolution of non-reemployment. For temporary certificated
Oh, thank
employees
you.
22, 23, and 25.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a correction of a updated for the resolution for non-employment of a temporary employee in the adult school.
One was left out, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we got the report.
okay. Is there?
I think Dr. Black sent the report.
It was in a weekly.
Weekly.
Correct.
Yeah, this is
Correct.
the 0.4 FT.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's no discussion, I'll move to approve.
Okay, I second that.
Motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga, seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Okay, moving to the approval of certificated WASC job descriptions. This has been pulled. Never mind.
Postponed, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, tier 2 attendance mentor job description, Dr. Kempke.
So we're requesting the approval of this job description. This was based on some tier 2 work to support students who are in need of reaching out at the 6 to 9 week mark. So you can see the attached
Mhm.
memo
Got it.
there.
Is there a motion or questions?
I will move to approve this.
Okay, motion by trustee Andrade Zuniga. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Jacobson. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Next is the approval of the district instructional technology library and assessment coordinator, Dr. Kempke, once again.
So if you remember in November, when we talked about the instructional leadership initiative
Mhm.
as part of our instruction department redesign, we'd put this as part of that. So this is actually job description has now gone to CSEA and we're looking for the approval for the job description.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I
to
move
approve?
to approve that description.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
So motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga, seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We are now no Ts, no Us, a V. Turn over to Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent Hawkins.
All right, so this is the latest update to our contract in the sale of the Crestmore property to Summer Hill Homes. I'm happy to answer any questions.
We talked about this.
Yes,
Yes.
we spoke of it.
We did.
Yes.
Anyone want to make a motion or questions?
I will
Adoption.
move to
Okay.
approve.
Trustee Griffin making a motion to
Oh,
adopt,
sorry. I will second.
and trustee Andrade Zuniga for second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you very much. Motion carried.
And I'd like to thank Summer Hill Homes for their continued.
Please relay that same
Absolutely.
appreciation from the board.
Thank you.
Okay. Board operations, Superintendent Booker. This is
So
the
you have a
first read.
few, you have a few in front of you. If there are no questions, then I would recommend that they get moved over to the
consent
consent
for next
for
time.
our next meeting.
Absolutely. Any
Great.
questions or thoughts?
They were all by
Right.
law.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. It's all law.
Yeah.
So got it.
Correct.
Interesting charter. Anyway, school ones. Sorry, just paying attention. My struggles with the chapter. Anyway. All right, moving on. Future board agenda items. Does anybody want to? I would like to just mention that we did not do AAPI Heritage
Yes.
Month. That was missing.
Last
Did we do it last?
meeting, yeah.
We did?
Oh,
Yeah, we did a proclamation.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. I was like, am I missing something? Because
Yeah, remember you,
On your trip,
right.
no,
No,
but
I was
you,
here.
no,
I just
you,
was tired.
you motioned.
I
You
was just really tired.
You
Okay,
approved
I had a
the
brain
motion,
moment.
so
Sorry.
It's okay.
Obviously, amnesia is setting in, so I'm
I have
sorry.
a suggestion.
Yes.
With our book study, it would be nice to have some trustees like rotate giving the presentation. That would be neat.
Ooh.
I would love that. Takes the pressure off
Stepping
me.
it up. a
Wow.
Okay, we'll start with
little. We
you.
can create slides. I'll do it.
Thanks, Lee, here.
I'll do it. Hey, I
I
brought it and I'm good for it. I'll do it.
Yeah, I think that's a volunteer by volunteer. You can
Amen.
do that.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm with
Sure.
you. Only
It'll
if you volunteer. Only
Yeah.
Trustee
if you
Jacobson, it'll
volunteer.
help you get ready for your speech at graduation. you
I
know.
found out that it's only 30 seconds to a minute long. So
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
I want to go to that school then, because I didn't have that. All right. Is there any additions to the future board agenda items? Oh.
What's that?
Yeah, okay, I just want to, so we can talk offline, but I wanted to see what, well,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like
Yeah,
super extensive.
right.
Maybe something simple.
It's voluntary is
I
what
know,
we're saying.
I know.
We're kind of
lately
pushing
I've been
out that
working 50
volunteer.
hours a week. so
But
it's kinda
I'm,
hard.
hey, if
Maybe
I
later.
propose it, I'm down to do it. so.
Okay, so we'll take volunteers,
Yeah,
Okay, I think I heard trustee Andrade Zuniga volunteer.
Sure.
and that's for
And that's it,
chapters 5
actually.
and 6.
Chapters 5 and 6.
Okay,
I'll do
5 and
it.
6, and we'll just keep going. Maybe someone will get, Hey, if it's summertime, I might be able to do one. So, all right. Okay. Any other, I do see, go ahead.
Yes. Update
think
on Gateway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
June 22nd, it says now.
Okay, cool. And then
Student,
there was,
student board
we
member,
had talked about something to put on the
student board member.
Yeah, we're,
student board. Yes,
yep.
yes.
No, we have to let them know.
So I just think it's real important that the student board members.
It's on our radar. Yep, absolutely.
We miss them. We need to find them here, because it's kind of a great thing to have the board members part.
They should have never went away.
Yeah.
There we go. But I think we have a new system and I'm really.
Yeah, we have
proud
a
of
new
us for that.
system. Mhm.
So that's good, but we need to get going on it. It's
just
And
slow.
someday we will find out if that system works.
Let's see.
Someday.
I would like to see student clubs maybe present to us.
Okay.
Yeah, along with
As part of like
the
a
student
special
clubs.
student life focus or something.
Yeah.
We can talk more about that.
Student alert. Yep. Okay. On that note, anyone else? Going once, going twice.
Terry, did you have something?
Darn it. I was trying to get.
My item about the student equity councils was tonight, so I'm told.
So you're good.
I'm good.
Okay. On that note, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dude. Okay. Superintendent.